Welcome to Plat Chat, episode VALORANT 29.
Episode VALORANT.
Oh, episode 1. You know, they say that attractive people on their faces, they have like a ratio in terms of like the proportions of their face.
Right.
So I've got 4 fingers, and we've already fucked up. So you can try that at home and see if you're
But you didn't say what's the criteria?
You've seen the TikTok too, huh?
What's the
It's a
criteria?
TikTok, is it? Yeah, you gotta basically.
TikTok, is it?
You gotta do from your
Josh
like
has
your
7
hairline,
fingers on his head.
your hairline to your brow.
Okay.
So I'm working with 4.
I think this. Technically mine's a little bit less than 4. It
And
looks
then you
like.
go from your brow down here, and then your brow, like wherever the fuck.
I actually have a 7 head.
Yeah, so you need apparently like an even proportion of fingers is like makes the most attractive
Is
people.
your forehead supposed to take them half your head? I literally have 7 fingers from here to here and 7 from there to there.
I think you have a problem with your finger size then. There's no way.
No, I mean,
Hairline. Hairline down,
Yeah,
1 finger.
I mean, I don't think the issue is with. I think his head is normally proportioned. It's just like a hairline thing, right? Like
Yeah.
his head is normally proportioned. He doesn't have like a
Josh,
mega
you got a
mind.
nice head.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you got a great head.
Yeah, that's what everyone in the comments keeps saying. Hey, that Josh guy, lovely looking head.
Yeah, either that or Josh looks like Sigma. Those are the 2 things I've seen.
So like, I think I could pull off a Sigma pretty well. I got a hairline for it.
Yeah,
Go all the
you
way
do
back.
actually.
I go.
What are your feet looking like? How would your toes look in the full cosplay?
Fucking gnarly,
hell?
veiny, vascular, gnarly.
That's. I don't think that's what you want out of a
We
Sigma.
get to all right, now I just want to get to the first topic.
The first
I'm not
topic is
joking around. There goes fun time. Avast made it weird. First topic.
Patch 2.01. Sees changes to Split and Jett. There's actually a bigger patch than patch 2.0, which is weird because you'd think that the 2.0 patch would be
What
bigger.
was 2.0?
Was
that the Brimstone Omen?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Brimstone Omen.
Yeah.
And this one they just made massive overarching changes to Split.
Yeah.
A couple of Jett changes. They made some ranked adjustments in terms of what punishing AFK people or
Yeah, I
what
think
they did exactly.
It wasn't 2.0 just because it came out at the same time as episode 2.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I think so.
Yeah, I
think they've learned their lesson in terms of rushing out patches. You remember when we had that patch where the inside of the Omen smoke showed the skin of Sage? Like
that was so good.
I think Riot have been coming to terms with the development cycle in a COVID working from home environment. It's pretty difficult. But yeah, I think they've realized probably shouldn't rush out the patches so that they all come out at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, have you guys played on the Split update? Actually, why am I asking
Yeah.
that? I know we have. We played together.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to start with Jett since it's at the top, or do you
Yeah,
want
we
to
should start with the top and go down.
I actually think this is pretty significant.
Yeah,
It is.
I think
I mean,
this is a great change, personally. Seen a lot of people who are not a big fan of it. I love this change. Smoke duration decreased 7 to 4.5. I think they were stupidly long. Like, silly amounts of long. She could actually function as a smoker instead of just using them situationally. She was using them kind of, you'd run in on B Ascent and you'd be smoking market for your team. That's absurd.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when they changed this initially to the 7 seconds. If I remember correctly, I think we felt like it was a little bit too long, and that something in the middle between the 3 seconds and the 7 seconds would be ideal. So personally, I like this change, and I think that it is significant. Like I wonder if more so than maybe the op changes, things like that, this is actually going to affect Jett playtime to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is. We've already heard some of the other teams, like I think Mixwell tweeted about it as well, and we've seen a couple of tournaments now as well where I feel like Jett is falling off a little bit. She's no longer the de facto best duelist to use, which I think you could have made an argument she was, or at least one of the two with her and Raze. And I just think everything about this is good, but also I'm not mad that the smokes were busted or like incredibly long duration before, because it made people actually experiment with them and do stuff with Jett. They're going to do the same kind of stuff now. It's just not going to be as powerful.
But which duelist do you think takes Jett's play? Because I do think this changes Jett's viability a bit. And like you said, you've already seen people start messing around a bit with no Jett. Like, is there a duelist that we feel that currently would de facto take that spot? Like,
Yeah, I
don't even Raze. You think it's Raze? Yeah, I mean, I'd lean toward Raze. I mean, I think people. I saw, who was it? Who was talking about it? It was on Twitter. Someone was trying to make an argument for Phoenix, but I'm like, I can't see Phoenix ever being as versatile as Raze.
I mean, you don't have the
I
mobility options. You don't have the utility to be able to help. Like, it's crazy how versatile those smokes were. You could use them actually as smokes as you're executing onto a site. You do the like classic play that I think Tens was one of the first people I ever saw do it, where you smoke and then you dash into it, and it really opens up all that space for your team. And then you can just do the baby bay smokes, where as soon as you get in trouble, you just pew pew pew, just throw 3 of them at your feet, and you're just like, yeah, I suppose this will help.
Yeah.
Well, you could still do that, right? As Jett, it's just now they won't last a million years, right? So
yeah.
But it's so versatile compared to something that Phoenix has. Like, you can't. There's not that range of options with the wall.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Raze comes to mind because the connecting thread is the mobility aspect of the two agents. And I mean, Raze is just so good. So I would expect to see more Raze in Jett's plays.
I think Jett will still be played though. She does that. She fulfills too many gaps in terms of the way that teams have learned to play with her, even with the smoke duration being decreased. Because you saw so many like the flash and dash plays, or like plays where Jett would hide in the smoke to try and like break the crosshair angles that teams would be holding on certain sites. I'm thinking about Ascent, where Jetts would smoke, dash into it, hide. And they're left, oh fuck, we got to worry about the Jett who's in the smoke, who could pop out at any moment. Like, those plays aren't going to go away. And the playbooks, that teams are playing around, they're not going to throw it out just because of the nerfs.
Yeah.
Also,
they might experiment more.
Jett smokes are really good whenever breach is in the meta as well, because if the Jetts can predict where the where the flashes are going to happen, you just pre-smoke that area and you stop the breach from actually getting value on the other team. There's no other duelist that can do that at the same time. So
also, you would think Jett would still be probably the ideal opper still, even with all the changes, just because of the repositioning aspect. Like to get that, like sure. So that's still, she still has a role. I feel like she still has strengths. It's just the smokes are not one of them necessarily anymore.
Also, the Jett smokes are like a hard counter to Sova's recon, and that is still a factor.
Sure.
Just throwing it right over the recon as soon as it lands. I do think with Raze though, and the mobility and like speaking to the flash and dash plays, I don't think that has really been fleshed out much with Raze at all. And in fact, you can go further than with the dash with satchel jumping and quicker. And I don't think that has really been fleshed out yet.
There's a bunch of European teams that like doing that, especially Summon immediately comes to mind actually with they have a lot of flash and I guess you call them flash and blast pack plays or something. It's not
flash and blast.
Yeah, it doesn't really roll off the tongue as easily. But they have a bunch of those on with Doma and Boaster, where they'll flash down like C long on Haven and down split mid and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see it in Brazil as well with some teams. Yeah. I think it's because they just one trick Raze. Yeah, well, honestly, is the main justification behind it. It's I don't know if it's, but it's it's kind of astonishing actually though, thinking back, because I watched the what the hell was the recent tournament? I've completely forgotten. Nursery Gamers.
NSG Winter.
Yeah, and like having taken a kind of loose break in terms of just watching the important matches since before that, and not really sitting down and focusing on the game. Like in North America, the game has evolved so much in just 1 month. Like if you go back 2 months, it's like evolved way more as well. But like in terms of the level of play that the top 10 teams in North America are playing at, like everyone's kind of, I don't know. NA plays a very puggy style in itself, but I feel like the game is evolving at such a rapid rate. And I've never seen it in any esports title that's new like this, where the game is essentially just kind of like steadily increasing in terms of just the strategies that we're seeing as well. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's because it derives from CS or what, but yeah. Anyway, tangent.
I was going to say perhaps it is because it is in terms of the mechanical skill and the aim, like the aim style and everything, that's already kind of come natural to so many of the pros that have switched over.
I think the legwork has already been done in CS with the fundamentals. Running defaults and trading with each other. And
you've immediately skipped the first few years of figuring out how the game actually works.
Yeah, right. So you get right into the utility usage, which is like where all the
and the map
real
strategy
depth of
and
it
tactics.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
It's probably the scene with also the most direct, I would say, like would transfer from those skills, like you said, like not just in terms of like the fundamentals, but like a player can move and actually just be not just good in the beginning, but potentially very good throughout the entirety of its scene moving forward, which I don't think is necessarily ever been as transferable in any other game, like ever.
I guess
at this point, in terms of like a high level.
Yeah. I agree completely. What else is in the patch? Of course, the split changes, wasn't it?
Split. Sinatra and Sentinels crying in the club over split changes.
it's real funny actually. Watching this kind of play out as well, and watching a lot of pro players for their opinions on this. They think that Split has now become more defender-sided as a result of some of these changes. Notably this one here through B main, because it now means that there are more corners you have to clear as an attacker. Because apparently they had like this little ledge, like a tiny little mini box underneath the box to the left at the far back.
Yeah.
And you can just crouch there, and it's very difficult to clear you out of that angle.
Yeah.
So
I've seen people hold that.
Yeah, so there's some pros that are of the opinion that it is now more defender-sided because of this B main change that's occurred.
The other aspect of that, actually, what I thought you were going to say, and you can see the little mini box right there in the bottom right. So you can stand on top of that, you crouch, and you can see over that left-hand side box. The thing is, though, you're going to be able to clear those angles way more easily than you were in the past because you can have multiple players in B main holding angles for each other. So I'm not really sure I buy the entire map being more defender-sided based on that. But I do think, though, that there's an argument, if you go back up to the original image, Kurt, that defenders can now more easily take control of Garage aggressively. Yeah. So whereas previously it was kind of... it was only really Heretics that I had seen do a consistent job of trying to hold B Garage on Split. Everybody else gives it up and you just hold the site itself. Or at least maybe you'll, prod in there and see if you can get a pick or hold an op, but you don't try and like lock it down with utility. Because it's so much easier to get into Garage now, and because it's so much harder to hold that entranceway, I could see teams running a lot more strategies to try and actually hold the Garage itself, and therefore making it maybe a little more defender-sided, at least on that portion of the map.
I feel like it balances out with what the changes to A site though, because I feel like the A site changes, they've made them so much. It seems a lot smoother for the attackers on A site, but B site maybe a little bit more defender sided.
I mean,
so
I still think B is attackers sided, but maybe at the pro level when people like have a bit more coordination, it's not. But for ranked, I found it so easy to just lurk into B because the defenders can't hold that many positions, and they're required in different areas now too.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying though, Bass. I think that if that does pan out to be true with B, I do think that the A side is a lot smoother for attackers, as you said. I think specifically taking ramp now.
This is crazy.
Maybe I just noticed it hard because I always play ramp when I play on this map. But the key element for me with ramp control now is that if you want to go to that section, Kurt, on A site, the doorway from ramp into heaven is now really wide, which means that if you're holding close, you can't actually escape. If people are pushing you, because before you would be able to go through the little door and there was a wall right there and you could just get behind so if you went through the door, you could just get behind the wall really quick if you were playing close. But now there's a far more likely chance that while you're trying to back up, the attacking player coming up ramp will actually have a time window to catch you now.
Yeah. This change as well has just broken so many holds on A. Like almost every pro team had, you kind of gave up ropes to some extent. Maybe you gather information there with a tripwire or an alarm bot or whatever. But then you have a guy holding on the left-hand side, the area that they've just changed to make it into a slope. That isn't a holdable area anymore because you can just get seen from ramp. You have no safety. So when you hold heaven, you have to hold so far back unless you're locking it down on ramp. It's it's wild, actually. This is an enormous change to favor
and it
the
cascades
attackers.
from there too, because on top of that, not only can you take Heaven a little bit easier, but also you can clear more of sight from Heaven now because they changed that back corner. So I feel like both, and also they made it harder, a little bit harder to retake from screens, I feel, or maybe not retake, but rather I should say they've sort of balanced it out a bit in terms of like you can actually exit out from screens more, I should say. So I feel like they've put a little bit of the extra balance in there where like, because used to you could have like guys holding both angles if you wanted on that because the cubby was so deep, but now they have that rounded corner. So it's a little bit easier to get out from screens at least. So maybe they want like Heaven to be like that sort of naturally makes a flow of like, okay, you're going to fight for Heaven really hard, or maybe you give it up and just try to retake from screens since you can do it like easier now. But I feel like you'd still want to control Heaven either way.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the defenders really can control Heaven anymore, though. I think if the attackers run some heavy execute from A main up to ramp, I'm not really sure how you would hold it. There aren't great positions. The thing is, there's a decent position for one player to hold, but there's no great position for like a second player. It feels like you'd have to play like one close to ropes and then one behind the box or something like that, and that's so easily broken just with a single piece of utility.
I think the developers said in their comment they sort of want like ramps to be more hot, like more fighting on ramps. Like it almost seems like they want to focus the fighting towards ramps versus Heaven itself, which is going to be interesting.
I think the opposite might happen though.
And teams just fall back all the way to spawn.
Yeah, I think there might be more play as to what you were saying. Because the box is the ideal spot, and if anything, it's kind of a good opping LOS now if you're playing from the back as well. But I think that the opposite might happen, honestly, because of what I was saying before. If you're playing close on ramps, you can't get out really. If you're taking an engagement, you don't have a chance to actually retreat and get around a corner now.
Yeah, you can try and get around the small box on ramp. There's like a tiny box in front of the door that they just changed. Yeah, but then how are you getting out from there?
Yeah, I mean that's
you would have to really have a lockdown approach to the entrance of ramp. With smokes, with some kind of flashes, or I don't even know.
You have to you got to be playing it to not get out. You're playing it to hard control.
Which is
not
risky,
give up the fighting there. Yeah. So.
I think this map will end up being attacker-sided, though, overall, because already in Europe, during First Strike, it was attacker-sided, with teams playing a lot of breach and just kind of cruising through the middle portions. And I think it's going to be much harder to run the kind of trap plays in A Heaven, absolutely, but also now on B, in the B main kind of areas. So I think we're going to see, a pretty solid shift towards it, at least being balanced. But I think at the beginning, probably feeling attacker sided.
Yeah, what do you make of it overall? The changes, I think they're quite good.
Yeah,
I like them.
Yeah, I'm fine with them.
Yeah.
I'd say, always good to interrupt the homeostasis a bit. Might as well see like what happens, right? In my opinion, it's always better to patch more and then fix it versus not patching and just kind of leaving it, right?
Yeah.
So I think Split definitely needed to have some sort of change, and these are interesting changes. And I'm willing to give them a shot. I especially like the B main changes and the Heaven changes. I think those are like really, really cool changes for this map. So
generally, Valorant has been quite claustrophobic in terms of the map design, I think, especially a map like Split, where you have these tight, confined areas, and it's just kind of one small boxy room, and then a small corridor leading to another small boxy room. And a lot of these changes are trying to open the map up a little more and give you more space to be able to work in, which I like. I think that's a positive direction for the map design in general as well.
Yeah, God,
they're airing it out.
Flashbacks to original Split sages when no one knew what to do. One wall go up in mid, and that's the game's over. You're just ruined on attack.
Yeah.
Good times. Let's go back to Valorant 0.5.
Let's go back to Raze having 2 grenades.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, when no one played Jett.
Yeah.
She just wasn't very good.
Widely considered a throw pick.
Yeah. The next topic is the rank systems that are They introduced a new. I don't. It's not really a new system because the developers have come out and said they didn't change anything except how the ranks are perceived.
Yes.
So the MMR is the same.
Yeah.
The systems that they're using to determine the games are the exact same. Yet the players are in uproar.
Yeah,
about
they are.
it. A lot of the top players are in uproar because the one in. I'll try and find some artist tweets as well, so we can bring them up because it was artists who I was thinking of with this in mind because he had a developer tweet at him.
He did, yeah.
When he was talking about it. I'm not even signed in on Twitter on my laptop. Essentially the players feel like the games are more imbalanced as a result of these changes. When nothing has changed in the back end. The MMR is still the same.
Well, they've tweaked a couple of things generally with the last patch. Like, for example, Immortal and Radiant can only solo queue. There is no Immortal 1, 2, 3 anymore. It's just Immortal, and then the top players of Immortal get put into Radiant. And there was a strong prevalent theory among the pros that when they had done this, they had reduced everybody back down to Plat 3, and then they made the Radiants only play against each other, and the Plats only play against each other, and the Plats were gaining way faster SR, and so they were making it to Radiant first. And the idea was that the pros seemed to believe that the Plat players who ended up making Radiant are like trolling the Radiant lobbies. I've seen Waddell's clips of like this Omen who just wouldn't listen to him when he was trying to get him to paranoia up hookah on bind. The Omen was just sat there, and then he eventually just paranoiaed himself in through the main entrance.
I think those people have always existed, though.
Yeah, that's what I think. I genuinely think these people have always existed, and they just have. I think it's a problem of perception. Like the pros believed that the system had radically changed, and therefore they were paying more attention to it.
I think we're getting to the point in any game's life cycle soon. There's always stages to every game's life cycle. At the beginning, there's hope. It's new. It's fresh. There's a lot of hope. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is the time that ranked will be different for us, the top, the elite. And then the game continues. You start noticing there's a lot more bots in your games, okay? I'm getting a lot more just, as according to artists, fingerless bots. I always prefer the term just like a CPR dummy where they have no hands or legs and they're just rolling on their keyboard. I would prefer that term, but it's eventually that's when all the players realize, wait, this rank system sucks too because I have to sometimes play unfun games, which is just how ranked works, especially when we get to the top. And then now we're starting to hit the denial stage. Someone else is wrong. And then we're gonna hit the acceptance. Rank this shit. It's getting there. It's gonna happen soon enough. It's the 3 stages.
They did change something though. Like the developer there is saying that they have the same system as previously, but what they mean is that they have the same system as like the last time that they did this. So they have taken all of the pros down to like Plat 3. The highest you could place was Plat 3. And then all of those pros, they said they haven't reset the MMR. So all of those guys are now playing against each other. So your Plat 3 games, you're not playing against normal Plat 3 players. You're playing against other Radiant players.
Well, if you waited, you're playing it against actual Radiant players as well.
Yes, and their matchmaking logic hasn't changed either. So they're not putting more lower ranked players into their higher ranked games. It's still the same logic.
Yeah.
So it's just perception.
It's kind of just perception, but it also has the real effect of not ranking you up quickly.
No, it does.
No, sorry, it gives you more SR for it. It gives you more elo, but you can still just win, lose, and you'll slowly gain only based on the profits.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah. So,
whereas if you were actually playing against Plats, you would just win, which is why people are ranking up their Smurfs so quickly. The pros are using this idea that all of their Smurfs are in Radiant and their main accounts are in Plat to indicate that ranked is broken. Yeah. But all that means is you were playing against actual Plats on your Smurf because you had no MMR.
Or your MMR was lower on your Smurf, and you're playing against easier opponents.
Yeah.
Because of it. Yeah. I mean, it's a perception thing because the way it's going to work is if you are Plat 3 in a Radiant lobby and you lose, you're not going to lose any rank rating. That's what they call it. The rank rating is what they use to essentially what your perceivable rank is. You're either going to lose none or you're going to lose a tiny amount. And if you win a game, you are going to jump up maybe 2 ranks at a time with every win, or you're going to gain a fuck ton anyway at the very least. So yeah, all perception.
Well,
the pro players are just part of a social study. We discovered the true reasoning behind it.
This is like the Stanford prison experiments, but with ranked. It's just like them as the pros. It actually reminds me of like the Call of Duty scene and how they complain about skill-based matchmaking.
That drives me up the fucking wall.
And good players, they complain about this. Like actual CDL pros, like complain about skill-based matchmaking all the time.
It's unbelievable.
And it's like because they're like, why am I playing? Why are my games hard when I pub? Because there isn't really a ranked system in COD so much. Like it's more of just all lobbies that you just play.
I think they do have a ranked system in COD.
Do they? I thought they didn't have a ranked system. Was part of the reason, or maybe the argument was that they don't want to play pubs with skill based because they're supposed to be like casual, right?
All I see is people saying, I don't want to be sweaty every time I play.
Yeah, that's what
I just want to roll plebs. And it's like, mate, there aren't enough plebs to go around. The plebs don't want to get rolled. The voiceless plebs do not want to get rolled.
Well, you'd be
fucking freaks.
I mean,
but that's the point, right?
COD.
Yeah,
like I think COD has more than enough plebs on it.
COD has always been that though as well. That's the thing. It's like that's just a general player base is used to it. Like COD has always had these lobbies where there's no skill-based matchmaking.
Hey, you do a little pub stomp and you make a little YouTube video.
Yeah.
That's what it's
all
about.
I remember Modern Warfare 2 camping in the rafters of I forget which map, trying to get 25 kills for the nuke.
I go watch some CNanners gameplay
later.
CNanners, yeah.
And then all the players that only get 3 kills in those games that go like 3 and 20 and are the victims of the montage.
But they're still playing.
Yeah,
they're not though. I mean, that's literally the reason that they implement skill-based matchmaking is because
I feel like the same people that have been playing COD have been playing. Oh, you mean for skill-based? Okay.
Wasn't there a study done that showed that there was no difference in terms of retention rates when it was introduced? I think there was. When skill-based matchmaking was introduced into a game, they found that there was no difference in retention rates of people playing the game.
There was just more bitchy.
I looked at we literally brought up a study like months back.
An undisclosed EA game. Which
was
like
that
FIFA,
was like
right?
FIFA or something, but it did have an effect.
I thought I read somewhere. I mean,
it didn't have as large an effect as the one that they were going for, which was this like deliberately giving you harder and easier games.
Yeah.
But
tell you what, I'm not gonna find any sources, and I'm just gonna go off of what I said.
Just gonna state it. Just gonna assert that's right.
Yeah. I think there is. I mean, there's an issue at the moment in Valorant though. Because even though it's a perception issue, that is an issue. Like perception issues are still real. If you have a bunch of pro players who are in Plat, you're making the ranks meaningless. Like the hidden MMR might all be working as
you make. I think you're wrong because it makes me feel real good about myself. So I think the ranks mean even more.
Not just the leaderboard, but if your hidden MMR says that. I'm going to use Asuna as an example because I saw him tweet about it. Yep. If your hidden MMR says that Asuna's main account is like easily in Radiant, it's the top 100 account or whatever via hidden MMR, but it's actually in Plat 3. What is the point in the rank?
The point is that I could be on 100 Thieves.
Well, I think
that's the point.
I don't think this is too much of a problem. What is this?
This is just
down horrendously.
Down horrendous dudes that are down horrendous.
I don't think this is a problem, and here's why. Because once the devs have said it's going to take them a much longer amount of games, much more games to reach the rank that is visible to be in actuality with their MMR.
Yes.
They said probably somewhere from 50 to 100 games.
Yeah.
So a fuck ton of games to eventually get to that point. But once you do get to that point, once that account hits Radiant, in terms of the leaderboards, his MMR is not like his MMR is still going to be high. And he'll be placed in the Radiant leaderboards where he should be placed.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So like theoretically, as soon as he hits Radiant, it's not like he has to start from the bottom of Radiant and grind his way up.
No.
He should just be placed in the upper sections of Radiant.
Yeah,
it just takes maybe 100 games.
But isn't that crazy that it takes 100 games to align the MMR with the rank? Like for the majority of the season.
They cocked it up. I'm not denying they've cocked something up along the line, but it's like a non-issue. It's an issue for a season, you know?
Well, actually, I don't know whether it is an issue for a season because I think this happens every season, doesn't it?
If they don't rectify it by next season,
isn't the solution just next season? All of the Immortals and Radiants just go down to Diamond.
Yeah, I feel like that is. Like, why did they make it Plat? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is the great correction season. Like, this is like the depression era of MMR, right? So the currency's deflated. It's all deflated a bit. And we're currently working. Now we're going to have Riot start to be like the Powell, the Federal Reserve, like start pumping in quantitative easing of the MMR eventually until the next seasons. We're going to start hitting the actual MMR that we're wanting, but I feel like that's sort of a back end. I'm not a programmer and I don't know exactly what goes into like a back end per se of like building a rank system. I know the general concepts, but obviously the hard science behind it, which is pretty complex. I'm assuming that there's probably just two different systems, right? You have like sort of the Overwatch system where it's like, fuck it, like your GM, why not? Like your GM, and then you'll go down from there. Or you have like this system where they've sort of brought it back to the MMR Stone Age, and you're going to slowly earn your way back up. And once you're there, you're locked in pretty accurately versus like more of an inflationary MMR type of thing. I'm not sure if that's accurate at all. I'm just saying bullshit, but that seems plausible.
Yeah.
This is also like the long queue times. That's a bit egregious. The 5.5 hours.
A bit egregious. I mean, that is a broken system.
That is a bit egregious.
But
this is exactly the kind of systems that the players are clamoring for further down the line. When they start complaining that ranked is shit because of the quality of their teammates, the reason for it will be because they roll back some of these protections.
Yeah, you can't have everything, right? Like you can't have really fast queue times with only the elite players. The math just doesn't add up.
Like in CS, when people go on and on about whatever ESEA, face it, is it only playable at certain times, like peak times?
I don't know actually.
Like in terms of when, like the quality of games will go up when pretty much everyone's online. It's like just
I would imagine so.
Like the pug lobbies.
Yeah, but they're more incentivized to play because there's money.
Right. Okay.
So,
but yeah, if you were trying to log on at like 3 a.m. and play a quick FPL game, I don't know whether you could or whether there'd be people around. I have no idea. But it seems unlikely, doesn't it, based on the player base size?
Yeah.
I'm not sure though.
Obviously, ranked, difficult thing, hard to get correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Very true. Very true.
Very difficult to get correct.
But also,
I guess the real question is also, well, actually, Josh, you go and then I'll go.
Okay. I was going to say that I have seen so many people saying that they're in the exact same situation as the pros. They're like, "Oh my god, yeah, ranked is broken. I've been kept down."
That's me.
Okay. I couldn't tell what you were trying to do there. You were
that's
just like
me.
waving.
Yeah.
That's literally me.
Really?
That's crazy.
Tell me your sub story.
That I'm stuck in. I mean, it's the same story that Austin has complained about. I feel very similar to him. It's unbelievable that I'm still stuck in Plat 3.
Yeah.
I should be in Radiant.
What rank were you previously?
Radiant. And typically, the problem is, I mean, aside from the broken MMR system, my teammates every game are just shit. My teammates don't communicate. They don't know how to hold. It's unbelievable.
You always 5-stack with us.
Yeah, exactly. My teammates don't know how to hold sights, don't know how to communicate, don't know how to aim, and I'm stuck in Plat 3.
Fingerless boss.
I'm a fan of it. The deflation. Yeah. Because I've gotten
the economic.
I've gotten significantly worse at the game since not playing it for 2 months, and I like it. I feel like I'm in a good position to start building myself back up again.
Yeah,
Like in terms of my understanding, like players have gotten a lot better at the game. I didn't realize how quickly people were going to improve, but you take a short break and suddenly, like people's utility usage is way better, way better. Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed anyway. It
just depends how long it takes to fix the issue, right? Like you said earlier, Josh, is like if next season the quantitative easing hasn't take place, right? We start put more stimmies into everyone's MMR, and like they don't start earlier. Like they don't, like if they have achieved like, let's say Immortals or Radiant at the end of this season after like their 200 million games, if they don't start maybe at like Diamond next season or something like that, like something where they have a more accurate picture of where they want to put people, or some other better way to not have them sit in their rank even though they're playing at high MMR for like 100 games, then it's an issue. But right now I'm sort of viewing it as just like it's the great reset, Like we've hit like the, what is it, the Fermi filter, the whatever, the one about the space age. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's what it is. That's it.
I mean, in Overwatch, if you're like top 500 or higher than whatever 3,900, you reset to 3,900 at the beginning of the season, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah. You don't reset to diamond. So but
also because you start so high though for Elo, you have this separate issue of like you have very high ranked games with players that realistically shouldn't be there in such high ratings.
Like Koosta, because he hadn't been there. He hadn't been playing the game for genuinely. Koosta had not been playing the game for like 7 months. Seriously, comes back in and he was just feeding those first games because he still had the high elo despite having not played.
Listen, I Overwatch definitely has its own problems. I remember I tried to play on my alt account like sometime last year, and it was in Masters. I want to say in 2017, and I got on. This is the first time I played Overwatch in years, and I got on same elo. I was in like 3,500 games immediately, and I'm like, oh god. I mean, I used to play like Gen.G, so I just get on, and it's just egregious. It's awful gameplay. My teammates, they were immediately mad at me over the voice comms. Everyone blaming me. I shouldn't even be in this game. This is ridiculous. I've been playing for 2 years, and it gives me the same elo. But yeah. My only real point is that just put the Immortal and the Radiant players into like Diamond 3 or whatever, Diamond 2.
I think they should learn their lesson.
And then you're fine.
If I'm
game
Riot,
designed hard, ranked hard.
I could do it.
If I'm Mr. Riot, I could.
I'm gonna open my own game design studio.
Yeah.
The next thing is the chat ban players will be limited from competitive.
Oh yeah.
In the near future, the next 2 to 3 patches, they said they're going to do this. Good change, because I'm sick and fucking tired of queuing into games and being like, oh, join my party. Yeah. Join my party. I don't know why I'm playing with Australians, but join my party. Just fucking whiny little. I'm chat banned. I'm like, I'm not gonna join your party.
Join my friend's party. Join my friend's party. He's chat banned. He's chat banned. And then they spam you with invites. Yeah. And then if you join, they call you a slur within 20 seconds.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why you're chat banned. You're a fucking degenerate. Yeah.
I mean, that has happened. I don't know about you guys, but I've had that already a few times.
Like five,
many
6 times.
I know I had that in a game with you. 2 games with you, I think, in a row.
Yeah, it may have been actually.
Like, okay, I mean, I don't want to join your party. I don't really.
And then they came into my stream afterwards.
Yeah, we did make a sick comeback though.
We did. Yeah.
Like Dota 2 has a system which is still by far, I think, the most elegant system in terms, like, from what it appears from the outside, is like the low prio system. Where they quarantine all the shitters into like one area where the shitters must play in like some sort of Sisyphean hell with each other.
I know what this is like. Even I played a lot of Dota, and I've got friends who still play Dota, and I hear about one of them in particular. Let's just say, not particularly nice when he plays video games. And the system that Dota has is fantastic. And I don't know, other games might have this, but they might not make it obvious. But Dota has a thing called behavior score, which it's if you know the right console command, you can find your behavior score. I think it goes up to a max of like 10k, and it tries to match you with people with similar behavior scores, and that comes down to, are you being reported? Are you using bad words in all chat, which it like registers? And it will put you with similar people. Low priority is something where if you've been leaving games, or if you are just getting reported all the time, you get put into it doesn't affect your ranked rating, but you have to play games in prison, essentially, with other offenders for like 3 or 5 games. And then
like
you're allowed to play ranked again. Then you're let into the general population again after that.
It seems like it would be non-rehabilitative if you just play with shitheads all the time.
It should encourage you to never leave a game again, honestly, because I've been in low priority, and I'm like, I'm not fucking going back. I am not going back. I am not going back. You cannot send me back. But the behavior score is a good system, because you do get matched. Like my friend has an account that the behavior score must be like 2,000, which is like almost at the bottom. What is this? That's a lot of losses.
I like his little cowboy hat, though.
Yeah, that's a raise and fix your.
That's one of the most expensive skins in the game.
Oh, there's the behavior score.
He's kind of a rootin' tootin' little guy.
Yeah. There it is. Oh, so you can actually see your behavior score now. So this is new. I haven't played Dota in a long time.
I think this is a fantastic system. Now, granted, you could argue like, is this rehabilitative? Then we're into criminal justice reform and like, is punishment versus rehabilitation, right? But essentially, I think for video games, since no one's actually going to physical jail, this is a perfectly fine system. Like, you should feel the consequences of being an asshole online and go play with the other assholes. And if you continue to be an asshole, then go stay in asshole jail longer. Then go get out of here. Like, it's not that hard.
I think they should extend it even further so that this behavior score, they should just you're forced to link all your social media accounts and it just trawls through for any kind of bad thing that you've done.
Employer.
Yeah, sends it to your employer.
Dystopian future they warned us about. Big Brother.
Yeah, no, I do think that idea is.
I mean, just don't. I mean, just get them out.
The chat ban players can all play with themselves in a little queue where the queues take 7 hours and no one can talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If the rule is if you get chat banned, you don't get to play competitive anymore. I think that's I think that reasonable. Should inspire some change for.
Don't be a shithead online. There you go. Yeah,
but there's no repercussions.
Yeah, another asshole Avast's coming for you with his criminal justice.
I legitimately believe that I would, if they had like a position of like, you are the ranked judicator, and like you are Judge Dredd of the ranked, right? And it's like, I am the law, and like that's me. I'm coming in. I am punitive punishment all the way for the rank. I'm gonna be such a dick, such an unbelievable, just merciless asshole. If I was the ranked judicator at Riot, and I would just take people out left and right. I used to advocate for like players should have like just 20 bans in rank they can give out like as they please. But I believe actually we should have a central authority figure, like more of a monarchy. And it would be line by succession. And that's going to be the person in charge of all the rank punishments. And it's
line by succession. You mean your kids will inherit the title?
I mean, theoretically, but if I don't have children, then I could hand it off. Right.
I love this idea. If there's any Riot developers watching and you have a job opening for something like that, that's your man.
I am prepared.
Give this guy a lick of power. Run wild.
I will only be punishing those that deserve it.
That's what everyone says when they start out. Suddenly, you beat Avast in game, you get banned.
I'm gonna be tough on crime.
They do kind of have a system like that in Overwatch.
What do you mean they have what?
Like the pro players can feed the developers information directly.
Yeah, but the developers still check.
And also just because you don't like this guy, like that's why I said reformed. Like, if you had 20 player bans, you know what would have happened? I would have banned like all the one tricks like a long time ago. I would have just banned them from the game, right? And technically, that's not really fair. It's not really fair, but I would have done it. No, I would have done it, but it's like the point is that
joins your game.
Yeah, like if you dealt with, or like the guy, there's this one guy. I saw all the xset players and BBG players complaining about him. He plays controller only judge, and he's like Radiant. Can you believe that?
You mean like
controller only judge?
You mean controller is in the
a controller. and he's actually really high ranked. I can't believe I need to find a tweet for it, but like everyone's like avoid this guy. Foe tweeted about it. I think one of the xset players did as well. I think like
that's incredible that he's got to Radiant though.
Yeah, but he plays only judge on controller. But the thing is, that's the definition of like a Valorant one trick. Like, you would hate your life if you're dealing with the controller only judge in your game. Like, imagine like you're playing Bind and this guy is like trying to judge on like down long or something, right? Like that's
the thing is though
ridiculous.
The thing is though, he must have been winning games to get to Radiant, so it must be working at some level.
But so does the one tricks in Overwatch, right? It does work.
Mate, I think we fucking queued into him.
What?
When he was like a low ranked. Do you remember we played that game in Diamond with that Brimstone?
The Brimstone.
There was a Brimstone player he wouldn't listen to us. He just laid down all 3 of his smokes in a line like a caterpillar in mid, and had a judge in the smoke and would just walk through the smoke with a judge, and that was what he was doing. He was either incredibly high or that was the guy, and we had just found him in his premature state when he hadn't learned how to play
cocoon.
He hadn't mastered his play style yet. But
see, that's a guy objectively though, he's not breaking any rules, and he's playing well enough to where he's at the top of like the rankings, right? So he technically should not be banned.
If you can,
but if players had bans, they'd ban him 100%. They would ban him.
Yeah, that's you can't ban someone for doing that though. I mean,
is this the guy?
You can't punish someone for doing that. You just can't. Like you made it to Radiant
I don't know
with a judge only, and you're playing with a controller.
Cypher.
I mean,
I mean, Cypher is probably the best option. You just hold a sight, sit inside your cage, and judge people as they
judge people,
and then retakes. Never heard of a retake.
This guy would be the perfect role for the adjudicator.
Yeah, this would be a person that I would punish without mercy. 100%. He's going to like the stockyards, you know, where they put him in like what's that thing called where you have like the plank and you have to put your head and hands into it.
Stockards.
Stocks?
Just stocks, I think.
Stocks, you know, but it would be stuff like that, you know, or I'd have like a bunch of like, you know, but or you'd have low prio. You'd make him play with the other controller judge players, you know, like even though technically he's
controller Radiant players.
There's
no way there's two, right?
But the point is that's crazy, and it also shows that a basic theorem is that if you make a game with characters, there are people going to one-trick the characters and only play this thing.
Yeah.
And that's and it's just a fact.
I mean, if this guy is public enemy number 1 for all the gold players out there, because it's like he is evident that he is this pure evidence that whatever you think is holding you back is not holding you back. This guy got the fucking Radiant using a judge and a controller. Like that's absurd.
Spectacular. I don't want to ban him. I want to give him a medal.
Is like, but that is just pure game sense, right? That's like,
I don't know, probably.
That has to be.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else.
If it's not his aim.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean, if you get the close quarters properly, the judge is really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, but that'd be an interesting system that you just said, Bren. If I was the adjudicator, I would start to put MMR bounties on players. So then that way it's like when the federal government puts out, they get bounty hunters to go hunt down most wanted, but you do MMR bounties. And then you find these guys and you have to beat them in rank, so you can incentivize a team to get extra MMR for beating this guy in rank to derank him, or taking him down from the inside on his team, right? Sure. Would this be unethical? Would this compromise the entire rank system? Yes. But would it be really funny? And you would take out those number 1 guys? 100%. 100%.
You're just advocating for stream sniping and throwing people's games.
Pretty much, but on a systemized basis, and you'd be rewarded for it. Like if you threw the number 1 guy's game, you would get like you would get some. You'd win. You'd get MMR.
Did you see that was happening on Chinese betting websites for Korean League of Legends ranked games? And
you can bet on ranked games.
So yeah, in China.
I mean, surely that's not going to go well.
Exactly. I mean, obviously a terrible idea. But they were stream sniping the largest streamers because the website let you bet on streamers' games. So I don't know whether originally the idea was wholesome of being like, hey, bet on whether Faker wins or loses. I mean, it's not wholesome anyway because it's just degenerate gambling.
But not wholesome, not for kids.
No. But also people had figured out that if you're high enough level, you can just queue snipe and then throw their games for money. I mean, and so that's what was happening. I read an article about it, I want to say like 2-3 weeks ago, where people had figured out what was going on because all of these top League of Legends players were having their games just horrifically thrown, and they couldn't figure out why it got so much worse, and it was because there was this betting site that let you bet on them.
Yeah,
so
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I like the idea of Avast.
But that system's bad because it's not targeting players that deserve to have their games thrown. You see, these are MMR bounties. These are on the FBI's most wanted type of thing. You know, like these are very. But
you've already shown that you are not to be trusted with the selection of targets. You would target this poor little judge player.
That's why I said this judge player should be the adjudicator. He should be the one deciding.
I see.
You know what I was thinking? I think these players should relax because honestly, if you get this guy on your team. And he's able to make it to. He's been able to make it to rating using the judge only. If he's on your team, imagine he'd be able to put in some value with the judge. But if you respect him as a teammate, he's going to have so much money. He can just hand out guns to everybody.
Well, I don't know how he is as a teammate, though. I don't know if he actually buys for his teammates, right? I haven't seen him play.
I mean, he's got to have so much. He's got to have spare credits every round.
But what if he was just a total dick? Like he plays judge with the controller and he doesn't buy. Like he has like 10K all the time and he won't buy.
He gets his loadout every round, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't buy?
Yeah,
what do you want to buy for you, though?
That's what I mean. And then he's just like giving out the extra cash. He's getting like pocket money.
If he doesn't buy for you, then fair enough. He can go on the FBI most
I actually think
list.
that's a bigger. I think if someone is just outright just not going to buy for you, I actually think that's more of an offense than judging and PlayStationing your way into Radiant.
In esports news, maybe we'll see this guy in the VALORANT Champions Tour because they made a new website. Might make it easier for him to see. There you go. He finds out there's a little esports program, just enters controller and all. You know, they ask him, "Oh, what are your peripherals at the major?" Like, what are you using? Final mouse.
And he pulls out
Corsair keyboard. It's like, no, just give me an Xbox 360 dual pad controller.
Not even the current generation of controllers, just the old one.
The Xbox 360 one. I think the 360 one is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. About you guys? Any opinions about controllers?
No.
What was
the topic?
The topic was the VALORANT Esports now has an official website for the VALORANT Champions Tour for 2021.
It's VALORANTesports.com I mean, it's just pretty simple.
Well, that's good.
But it solves all of the issues that we had during Ignition and First Strike, which is where the fuck do you follow these tournaments? Yeah. And the answer is
they had third-party websites to do it, but obviously they weren't developer backed and supported. You know, so like that does it always. You always have to bring the question. It's like, well, technically, all these third-party websites like Juked and VLR.gg, they do have good systems to track it, but like, is that more widely available to like the public? You know, is that something that can be pushed out as easy as if Riot themselves were doing it?
Plus, this is just a direct. I mean, I'm assuming it will eventually be a direct mirror of lolesports.com, which, as far as I'm aware, is just where everyone goes. It's like overwatchleague.com. It's just the developer website for following that esport, and it's got the same format, where it's the name of the game and then esports.com. It just makes so much sense, and you're directly taking the format from the largest esport in the world and porting it over to VALORANT. So these are the kind of changes that I think are just great for the scene. This is the necessary infrastructure for people to follow the esport moving forwards.
Yeah, I mean, VLRGG is great, but the regular player that doesn't know about VLRGG, it's kind of
the judge player, the judge only player.
Put it in the
the judge only player, except that guy in Iron 2 probably doesn't know about VLRGG.
Put it in the in-game client as well.
So yeah.
I don't know if they already have it in there. I don't know, but they should. They should, honestly.
Yeah,
it's like the
they
next
totally
step.
should. I mean, at the moment, it's not even a functioning website, right? Like, I think it just
Just a countdown.
Yeah, it's just a countdown to the VALORANT Champions Tour. So hopefully when the schedule gets released, it's got a schedule, and then maybe there was a video as well. Actually, they made a video about
the players.
Yeah, what did they call it? It was called
First Class.
First Class. Yeah,
their content rollout actually that they're starting ahead of time for the Challenger series is really cool. I actually really like the ideas here, because like they're taking the basic concepts of all like content and storyline developing and just like pushing these players to the front, but having like these first class, things. It's almost like, it's like that. What is that one? It's like it's like some sort of hip hop, like, or rap, like first class type of thing they do. I forgot what it's called. It's like,
you're talking about the freshman list.
Yeah. Freshman list, it's the freshman
list.
What?
But it's like that.
What is this comparison you're trying to draw here?
The comparison is that they're highlighting upcoming players and like players that are in their tournament to like bring the spotlight to them, And it's an interesting idea because also they're doing it from the different regions as well. So they're trying to bring like equal representation to the regions.
Yeah.
So it allows you to build these storylines and like player hype before the tournament starts globally, And there's so many ways to expand upon this. And even if you don't go like crazy creative, you can still, there's so many basic fundamental like ways to build these player storylines early that it's something that I don't think that it's just so good. It's so good to start this early.
Yeah,
I think
it is fantastic. It's the kind of thing actually that a lot of the talent that had previously worked with Riot was trying to implement in the Overwatch League. Like if you look at what they've done here, they've given the top players a title, which is similar to our role stars, I think they're now called in Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
And then they've given each of them a nickname as well, which is very ambitious for the start of a scene to like apply
Have they given them a nickname?
Yeah, like all of those players, if you play the video again, they all had a nickname. Like MW0 was called the Showstopper. And then Mixwell's called the Relentless and stuff. There's like
the Commander.
Yeah. So, but like, So it's
the commander.
It's ambitious, and even you could argue a little bit cringe at the beginning of a scene.
The flare.
But for some of them,
I would say the names are probably a little extra.
But I don't think it's extra. I think you're starting the mythos.
The machine.
So you're like, some of these, none of these are going to stick, right? But what you are doing is you're incentivizing this idea that carries over from League of Legends of mythologizing the players and like attaching titles to them. These are the kind of things that fans latch onto. It's like the classic story legend kind of building. Because it's like what do they call Faker, the unkillable demon king or something? And then there's a bunch of I think that's like the classic nickname from Korea for him.
That's such a mouthful of like a name though, right?
Doesn't run off the tongue like the commander. But I don't think it's cringy. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's
but it's still a really cool idea that they're doing it so early and setting the expectations that they are going to push storylines for players globally, and they want to ideally put out more content around that. I think that's like a great way to start pushing their unified scene.
Yeah, personally, I love it. I think you're saying to the player base, we are not just going to do interviews with you, we are going to try and turn you into legends. Like, actually, that's what this video tells me when I look at it, if I'm thinking about it as a player. You are trying to attach titles and legacy, and you're turning, you're turning them into a legend rather than the person. You're taking it and you're pushing it further than just, he's a good player, to like a different level. You're giving them extra titles and all sorts of stuff. I think it's a wonderful idea for the scene, and it sets the expectations perfectly. This is exactly how I enjoy narratives to be developed.
The commander, the sentry.
Yeah, and they do it so stylized that it doesn't come off as cringe. Like, I never thought this video was cringy at all. It does if you read out all of the nicknames.
It's not the main selling point, though. No, if they start making the talent call them by those names, that's when we got a problem.
The thing is, though, if there is a natural nickname that does like really fit the player and it works, I'm fine with that. Like, I think that's good. But it has to be. It almost has to come from the community first rather than the broadcast.
The sooner, the flare.
But like, I feel like there are definitely examples of that around, though.
Currently, though, I don't think there are currently like a lot of nicknames for players, though, right?
I think there are. We just can't think of them.
In sports, there's a ton.
Yeah, I mean,
Kobe's the Black Mamba.
But we're talking about with VALORANT, though.
Well, you can relate it to the same thing.
Definitely.
Sure.
I totally agree with Kurt, though, as well. I think that they're like, you can easily do the exact same thing that sports does. But also, I'm sure there are some in like Overwatch and CS as well. I just can't remember them. But like, most of them start with memes, basically.
Yeah.
Instead of being truly like trying to mythologize them, and then they turn into that later on down the line.
It's interesting. Yeah. In esports news, we'll move on to the actual brunt of the podcast. The judge player actually looking at joining a team.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, what if his nickname was the judge?
Scouted him. What do you say?
What if his name was the judge, like for his first class thing? They called it the judge.
They should call it judge, jury, and executioner.
100 Thieves have, how do you even pronounce his name? Silenx?
Silenx, I think.
Yeah, Silenx filling in for Nitro. Obviously, Nitro is, on paternal leave?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, because he's having a kid, so he's like taking a break from the game. And yeah, I mean, is this going to be just for... What, the qualification period?
I don't know. I also don't even think this is confirmed. This is based on who actually signed up to the challenges or something.
The challengers.
So Silenx is on their roster, so people are assuming it is Silenx. It kind of makes sense. So
I mean, it makes sense. He's a free agent. He's a really good upcoming player.
But does he play Smokes, though? Because Nitro was primarily playing Smokes, and looking through his play history, I don't see that much Omen.
No, I've never seen it, but from the times I have seen him play, he was really good. I mean, the notable game is that game when he was playing the Soccer Storm against Sentinels in First Strike, and we watched that Ascent game, and he just single-handedly rolled them. I mean, at the beginning of the rounds, 2 seconds in, he would just peak, and there was like 4 rounds in a row. He killed Sinatra 2 seconds into the round, just peaked, headshot him. I mean, his mechanics, his skill is really high. And I have faith that Steel and Hiko, and now they have a coach as well in Frost. So I think that they'll be fine in integrating him into the team, and it should be fine. And that's the kind of player like a lot of people were thinking they were going to kind of get someone more established.
Like Calypso.
When I was seeing the speculation. Yeah, like Calypso.
Yeah.
But no, but like they were, but getting someone like this makes a lot more sense because it's someone who has something to prove when they're going to be put on a stage like that.
Yeah.
Versus some of the more established guys coming from CS, like they're trying to get signed and look for a team. But like an opportunity like this for a young upcoming player is big. So, and I've seen great talent there. So
I also like the idea of taking someone that has clearly very high mechanics and teaching them how to fill in Nitro's role. And giving them like, here's a couple of the setups that we do, here's how Nitro normally plays, try and do something with that. I mean, who knows whether they even have him playing smokes, actually. They could change all of their roles, but it seems natural that they would just have him fill in for directly 1-for-1 with Nitro, even though he doesn't play smokes.
Yeah.
It's not a particularly hard role.
But it's also not a role that's, I don't think there's many free agents that you can look at to fill in. Because normally those roles are kind of reserved for like a lot of IGL positions. Yeah. It's not something that's going around on the free market. I don't know if they would have much of a choice.
Player 1, Effie's, Calypso?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's a better pick than any of those actual Omen players, though. Like, I would rather...
Yeah, I think he is, too.
I mean, maybe player 1, but...
I think...
I'd rather have Silenx, I think.
I think it's a good pick, because I think that he's the type of player who, even though this is just a trial period, and he won't be on the team, is going to give it 100%.
Sure.
Like this, not that the other players wouldn't give it 100%, but I think that an opportunity like this might mean more to a player like this than someone like player 1 who Calypso's. Like, it's already known that those guys are good.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity for a young player to show that they can, potentially play for a different top team.
I do hope, though, that this isn't for too long. I don't know what the timeline of having a child is like. At what point they become self-sufficient and they don't require Nitro for sustenance anymore. But
usually a long time.
Require him for sustenance?
I would. Child is sort of a lifetime thing. I'm going to say.
Really?
As well. Yeah.
God, you can't just kick them out after a couple of years.
Well, I'm excited.
Fend for themselves.
I really am, though. I'm excited for when Nitro comes back and he's able to play with 100 Thieves again when he's in his 40s. That's what I'm excited for then.
Nitro is only 25.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he raises the kid for 15 years, he'll be 40. So.
So he'll be back for the VALORANT Champion Series in 2043.
Yeah,
looking forward to that.
He'll be like Rick Moranis, He like retired from acting for a bit to stay with his kids, and then he's like come back. That'd be Nitro, but with VALORANT.
He comes back in and plays with his child.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
100 Thieves have also officially signed Frost, their coach, but they've been working with him since September, so I don't think that's particularly newsworthy.
Wow, brutal.
Well, how is that? That's not brutal. I think Frost is probably. I mean, the team looks really well structured. I think it's a combination.
First, Sideshow hates Frost.
No, I think it's a combination of him working well with the team. But I mean, he's been with them now since September.
For
this
a while.
Isn't a new thing, so it's not
breaking news.
De facto, it is not breaking news.
Yeah. T1 apparently are going to ship Sire Player as well to North America. I think Sire Player, Spyder, as he's known in VALORANT. We should probably call him Spyder.
Oh, yeah. I wrote Sire Player in this title just because I have my Overwatch brain on. But yeah, he's called Spyder now, isn't he?
Yeah. Moving roles? Is that confirmed? I saw Spyder confirmed on his stream that he will be moving out to North America.
Brax said that on stream that he's swapping to Jett and that Ska will be playing like Sova. So assuming with that, like they'll probably, he hasn't confirmed what Spyder will play, but based off both of those, role swaps, they're assuming that Spyder's probably moving to full-time like duelist / Omen.
Yeah, which is what he was playing before, but the entirety of T1 shifting their roles is pretty massive, honestly, because T1 ended the year as probably the fifth best team.
Didn't we put them at 5?
I think so.
Power ranking, or were we crazy to put them at 4?
I don't think.
We put them somewhere high.
I think we put them 5. Right?
I don't think we put them above Envy, but
no, we did.
Yeah,
that is what
we did. We did.
That
put
was
them
the big
above
move,
Envy,
is that we put them over Envy because Envy was
because Wyatt had an impassioned speech on the soapbox, and then we were like, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," and we all agreed with Wyatt. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more T1 though. They won my heart over. I became a big fan of the new T1 at the end of the year. But that is interesting to hear. Obviously, given that Skadoodle's Jett was really good, and maybe even the bigger question than that for me is where and what and Days. What's he doing? What's he going to play? If Skadoodle will be taking over.
I'm assuming he's going to play Sentinel, like anchor.
Yeah, he said Sentinel.
Oh, really? So then what does Brax
look,
play?
you've got a
I didn't
list of it.
This is what I'm concerned with.
Okay, so Sky will be playing Silver. Brax is playing Jett.
I'm concerned with Brax on Jett. For this team. I mean, also just because it's weird to kind of shoehorn yourself into a single role when you don't really know which way the meta is going to develop.
I mean,
also,
I think this was before the Jett nerfs actually came through.
But even still, like Brax's play style just inherently suited a more lurking role.
Definitely
like
agree.
That's his play style. That's the way he likes to play. And I've seen Jett players struggle with just even the adaptations within the role itself, the way you have to change your playstyle when you're playing with flashes or when you're not playing with flashes, like different things that are normally in your playbook. You'll learn how to play Jett in a certain manner, and you won't be able to make the switch in your head. Who was the player I'm thinking of in mind? Because it was on Split.
I mean, Mitch has had that a bit at times, but I don't think that's...
Maybe it was the Sentinels. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I can't even recall. But the point I'm making is Jett is something that is a little bit more nuanced these days, where you can't just play one play style of Jett and get away with it. It changes depending on what composition you're running around it as well. Yeah. And I think inherently, Brax in the first place is not suited to that role to begin with. So this is a weird one to me.
The thing is, though, I have the same opinion as you generally, but I'm tempered with my own knowledge of my ignorance. Because we haven't seen Brax play a duelist since, I want to say like August, when he played some Rays or something like that. Ago. It was a long time ago. And that was when he first transitioned from CS. He hadn't had that long to play the game, really. At this point, all of these players have played duelists in ranked for a huge amount of time. You understand, at least to some level, how each agent is supposed to be played. You've got a decent model in your head of like what you need to do. And so even though I've never seen him play Jett before, and his duelist looked pretty poor when he previously played it, I mean, compared to his Cypher and his Omen, absolutely. I think that if the team really believes that he can have a huge performance on Jett, you have to give them some wiggle room there. You have to kind of believe that they know what they're talking about until it's proven wrong, because the data that you're using, or the data that I would use to say Brax is unsuited to the Jett role, is so out of date, it's useless.
Yeah, I would suggest that this is not a move they would make if they weren't seeing success with it.
It's so nonsensical because on paper.
Yeah, and when I say success, I mean like that something must have really clicked, because I think the idea of just on paper switching Skadoodle off of Jett after how much success he had throughout First Strike, the entirety of it. I mean, he was wildly consistent the whole time.
He was absolutely a top 10 player.
That has to suggest that something really clicked with this lineup of agents, right? Otherwise, it doesn't seem to make much sense. So and T1 with how much they had improved, I'm rolling with this. I think that there must be something here.
Must be. I mean, I think a lot of teams are actually doing some role swaps before challengers, because they're because this isn't even like this isn't even like public stuff, but like it's just like a hearsay that I was talking to Caboose, you know, as I work at Envy. I was talking to him. We were having a shoot, and he says
insider info.
Wow. And he said that they're experimenting. It's not confirmed. They're experimenting. So they might not, it depends on how they would do it, but they might move Caboose over to Smokes. And so like I think a bunch of teams, and I think JC Stani as well, since Immortals picked up some 2 new players, like he swapped his role a bit. But I don't know if he's swapping like what he's playing, just more if he's the IGL. But like,
Heretics said they're swapping their roles up as well in a recent stream. That was part of the reason that they declined an invite to a recent tournament, I think, was at least they were implying that they swapped the roles up. I don't know whether they've 100% done it. Who else? There was a bunch of the European teams wiggled some roles around, and there was another North American team actually that shifted things recently too, but I can't remember who it was. Oh, I mean, Cloud9 are just wiggling things around as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, I already said. I mean, unless you were thinking about Immortals, which I just said.
Okay. I kind of want to go back to an earlier point just briefly as well, because you've just reminded me of it with the switching of roles idea. But the balance changes that we were talking about earlier with Jett smokes being changed, the justification for it was that people were using Jett in place of the controller, right? Like the controller position.
Yeah.
And it feels like Wyatt are trying to hone down what composition they want played in a game. In the game of Valorant, when you jump in, similar to how it is in League of Legends, you got one top lane, one mid lane, one jungle, one support, one AD carry. I think they're trying to basically hone down. You will always have a controller. You will always have a sentinel. You will always have 2 duelists. You'll always have maybe 3 duelists. I don't know, but it seems to me that they're trying to basically solidify into like a meta so that you can have players that can play a role, and they are. I'm a sentinel player, I'm a controller player, I'm a duelist player, instead of all over the place and it being like this. I don't know if we're getting to that. We're not at that point yet, but it seems like the way that they're balancing their philosophy with that implies that they're thinking about the way that they want the game to play in terms of how it's viewed. I don't think that has anything to do with the role switches, but I think the role switches are pretty important in terms of, I don't know, finding what works for you, I guess. And this is probably going to be the most important time to do so, because a year from now, you might see that philosophy, of that balancing philosophy, has actually come to life and is now the case, where you are essentially, the role you are playing right now will be the role that you're probably going to be playing your entire career, because it's pretty difficult to make a switch otherwise.
Yeah, I don't really know. I feel like switching in this game is so much easier than in a lot of other games that you don't really have to solidify the meta in that.
Do you just say that though because of the raw fundamentals?
Yeah, like all of the rifling and whatever.
The rifling and the shooting is such a major component of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I think, positionally you have to play it different. You have to play like whether or not you're playing forward in the pack or like towards the back. You have to play different roles, but it's much more simple than basically any other game.
My argument against that would be that at the highest level, the intricate minor details that differentiate one role to another, or even the best players in a given role, are much more impactful the higher up you go in terms of like the way the game is being played.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I also think that that applies to every other game as well, and then they have a bunch of random stuff thrown on top.
Sure.
Like if you're comparing that to, apart from CS, I suppose, where there aren't really roles. Yeah. But if you compare that to Overwatch, or you compare that to a MOBA game as well, if you change your role, it is a significant swap. That all of the abilities are going to change, the way that the hero actually functions is going to change. Like the projectiles it fires are all different. It's a shift.
I think it depends on how they stratify their agents going forward, like Brennan was talking about. Like if their balance philosophy changes kind of drastically, or not drastically, but like it shifts pretty big, and that like they will start stratifying the utility a lot more, and like what roles are having which utility and how they play, then maybe I think you see like that specialization take place. But otherwise, like it would have to be a pretty big shift for that to happen, right? Because like you were saying, Josh, the fundamentals are so baked into attack shooter that it's like it's hard to like super hardcore specialize.
I think these shifts are mega interesting for T1 though, because they either indicate a massive change in how we're going to view certain players, like Brax for example, or they indicate a flop incoming for T1. And those are the only two options. Either Brax utterly redefines himself as a player, or this team looks significantly worse than they ever have done. That's a wild thing to be saying about like a top 5 team in North America, that they're gonna have to reinvent themselves or die.
Well, what if they look slightly worse? What if they look like top like 6 to 7 versus top 5?
I'm getting called by the same person you just were.
Maybe.
These guys have asked $1 million meetings and shit.
Next topic.
We're recording the podcast. Wait,
Next topic.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, this isn't important, so we don't need... We don't need everyone here. I was laughing to myself at the end there because the thought entered my mind. I started connecting the dots. Spyder coming to NA, or the roles switching. Fraud.
I was about to bring this up. Fraud, yeah.
How do the dots connect? What did fraud have to do with it?
I feel like
probably
it is possible, though, that there was something here. I mean, it is a coincidence that they get rid of their coach and then immediately shift roles. That's a pretty big coincidence. Also, I mean, if the organization is involved with actually bringing Spyder over to North America and whatever potential issues that could entail in a COVID environment, I don't know. There's reasonable questions here to be asked about whether the two things are linked, especially when the guy brings up, when the guy brings up ethics in his tweet.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an unreasonable conspiracy theory to think that there might be some.
Okay, so let's hit the conspiracy theory then. I'm going full conspiracy theorist. Here I am. You know, the Earth is flat and fraud left the team because he didn't want to swap roles, and now that Spyder's coming to an A, maybe Spyder didn't want to come to an A, and then T1's like, you got to come to an A, and you got to swap roles.
T1's like forced.
Yeah, and then Fraud's like, this is unacceptable. And then they honorably discharge him and they cover it up, and he's
they
done,
honorably
right?
discharge him but cover it up.
Yeah.
I think there's some the lines of logic are splitting at the seams, really.
But I mean, I could see it. But it's just such unbelievable rampant speculation.
Could you? I don't know if that was the theory.
Well, what's your
if
theory?
They were discharging him honorably, wouldn't have they just fraud? They would have said, something nice. And,
well, I mean,
and also, why would in your theory, Saya player signs to T1 but doesn't want to move to North America?
But the question is not. He wants to go to T1 at some point. He wants to go to North America at some point. But right now, because of COVID, he doesn't want to. Right. So what if they're like, you got to come to an A, and and Spyder's like, well, COVID's going on. Korea's pretty safe right now. I don't want to go. Right. But it's like, you got to come to an A. You got to come to A so we can practice. Right.
I'm not going to lie.
Obviously.
That was my headcanon.
Really?
I mean, okay.
Now again, no. This is such rampant speculation. We're speculating on the malicious intentions randomly of an organization.
Like, this is following Wyatt. I'm following Wyatt. Wyatt's the ringleader. He's the one that brought it up.
You're the ringleader.
I didn't even give a theory. I just said that maybe there's a dot to connect, and then you just started coming out with wild theories.
I'm a weak-willed person, and you incited me.
Anyway,
like you did this.
In other news, mailboxes are being installed tomorrow, 2:30.
Okay, wonderful.
So that was what they were trying to contact us about.
We can finally get mail.
Yeah, we can finally give out.
Maybe I can finally get internet as well.
Yeah. Maybe when we reach 20k subscribers, we'll leak our address.
Well, actually, though, we should set up a PO box here for.
We should. Yeah.
Is that a goal? Is that a sub goal? 20k subscribers, and you can dox us. You can dox us.
We do need to set up a PO box just so we can get, I don't know, stuff sent to us.
Yeah.
I think that's a great goal.
We can feature on the set. And other things. Yeah. Are you guys finished of your speculation?
I think so.
Well, I don't think we came to. Well, okay.
I think it's dangerous to conclude anything with such
what dangerous ideas do you want to put in my head next, Wyatt? Huh? What else are you going to make me think?
I didn't put anything into your head. I just suggested. I simply suggested that the timing. It's interesting.
It is interesting.
And then you just went off the rails. And now
koosta
lawsuit is going to be heading Avast way from T1. Unbelievable.
Koosta?
Yeah. I mean, this was big news.
Yeah.
Joins Gen.G.
I mean, it's interesting.
It is interesting. Will this save Gen.G? That's my question to you, Wyatt.
Well, I mean, I think we've been saying that. I feel like our Gen.G take is just a fucking broken record. I mean, we've been saying the same thing for like 5 months, and my opinion is still the same. I never thought it was really a player issue with the team. It was always the actual game style. It was what they were doing in the server. It was the tactics. So is this going to suddenly solve their problems? I don't think so. I mean, even this week, not that it was like a mega tournament, but there was like a tier 2, 3 Knights tournament this weekend.
Did they play in it?
No, player one did though, and he was popping the fuck off. So it's like, I never thought that player one was the problem on that team. I didn't think any of the players were a problem on that team, honestly. Even with the first iteration, I still think Effie should be on a team by now. But I don't know. It's fine. It's a good pickup. Obviously, koosta, he was on the Gen.G CSGO team. He was finding a lot of success with them, more success than he really had at any other point in his career, where he had interestingly found the success being a rifler, where if you go back early in his career, he was like the upcoming AWPer in NA, but it just never really panned out as him being this star AWPer in like the tier 1 of CS, which is where the speculation then was maybe he'd end up there. And, he'd been on a litany of NA teams for a while, and then his biggest success really was on this most recent Gen.G roster under the leadership of Daps, and he was just playing as a rifler. And he was solid. He was playing well. So, is it a good pickup? Sure. Do I think he'll be good? Sure. Is this going to fix Gen.G? I don't know. I don't think so. It's cool. It's a good pickup, but was player one the problem? I don't think so. So,
Yeah. How many pieces do you change before Gen.G get fixed? I don't know the answer to that question. I think they look like they have a very solid roster right now, but is that...
I thought they had a solid roster.
Yeah.
They looked pretty good before.
I thought they're both... I thought every Gen.G roster has been good. So I don't know.
Yeah,
they might be the only people who seem to not know that.
Look at these wild oscillations in terms of their elo, though, actually. Like, that is a weird-looking graph. They are all over the place as a team.
The issue with PUBG, the issue with Gen.G, in my eyes, has always been, it sounds like a dumb thing to say, but I'm going to say it, that they've been, I think, too structured, too playbooky. Yeah. And NA as a region has developed with their style being very kind of puggy in the way that they play. It's loose, it's fast. They're adapting very quickly to what's being thrown at them. They have a lot of small plays that they can make in a moment to try and retake areas or whatever, or just in the moment plays that they can have. And that's a general playbook of most teams. But Gen.G are a team where they seem to have just an overarching game plan of how they want to play out.
Yeah, every round.
A round or even a half. And some say like it is quite structured. Like we've heard of examples of of teams playing against Gen.G and just knowing exactly what they're going to be doing in a half.
Yeah, like I said, I watched the VOD of Lemonade Stand.
Yeah, Lemonade Stand.
Where their IGL was like, oh yeah, I've watched these guys play Bind once. I know exactly what they're going to do. But also, when you say they're too structured, they were at the beginning of the scene playing with a lot of structure that helped them.
Yes, but at the beginning they were the best.
And as the game evolved, they didn't keep up tactically at all. It's not like they've continued to innovate and bring out awesome strategies and awesome tactics.
They're just kind of stagnated.
They're not the Summon FC of NA, but they're just getting counter-stratted by looser NA teams that are great at reacting. They don't have great strategies and tactics anymore. Their tactical level was good at the very, very start of the game when no one had anything. But you can't rely on that level to be able to carry you through now. The game's developed so much.
They need to modernize.
They do.
They need to go digital. They're too analog. That's the problem here.
I just think they need to... because they've been so early on in their careers as like a team, I suppose, they've been so structured and disciplined with an idea of how they want to play. They've fallen behind in the aspects that actually matter now in North America, which is being able to adapt on the fly to what's being thrown at you, being agile in a moment, in a rounds basis. And because they're so far behind, that's where they really need to be improving on. How do you improve on that? I have no fucking idea. I think a good coach would help, like in terms of just being able to help them, I guess, think about the game differently. But it's pretty difficult, I think, to learn. It's not an aspect that you can learn. It's not like you plug in strategies. Like, you can improve your playbook. You can add more to it, and it will help you. But like, if that is one of the core issues, is not being able to adapt on the fly,
But I think it's more than just the mid-round decision making. It's like how fast they are to be able to get in position to help each other as well and react to what other teams are throwing at them.
Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly, but that's what I mean by it.
No, I understand. I think though that it will help. The more players you change, the more you have to start at a very fundamental level again. You can't just each new player. You can't be like, oh, here's the playbook and pull it out and teach them like from the scrolls.
The 10 Commandments.
Yeah. You have to start at a very fundamental level, which is what Gen.G need, I think. So even though these changes in terms of player personnel might not have been necessary in terms of adding more skill or anything, just starting at a more basic level would probably help Gen.G.
Yeah. I mean, I think this move is fine. I mean, I'm sure Koosta will be good. I wonder, though, maybe this will inspire some role changes on the team as well. I mean, I don't know what Koosta plays. He doesn't...
That's always the Gen.G answer.
He doesn't stream.
Changes.
He doesn't... I don't know. So, you know, I don't know if there's any tape of him playing Valorant out there.
Even in his highlight video that they used to announce him was all CS.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do
there was
content
a bit of
or
Valorant at
anything.
the end.
A tiny bit of Valorant, yeah.
So,
is that?
I think vent is just going wild.
Yeah, I think you have a beetle in the vent.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing some role swaps. We kind of touched on that on previous episodes.
Do we think this is do or die?
I yearn for the GMD raise again.
Do we think this is do or die for Gen.G with a move like this?
No,
I don't think it's do or die because it's not that. It's not pivotal. It's a slow. It is a slow and steady decline for Gen.G, and hopefully at some point they turn it around. But it's not going to be. This isn't the pivotal moment where they will suddenly fall off the face of the earth if it goes wrong. They're just going to slowly bleed out. If this is the wrong move, because that's what they've been doing constantly for a while now, is just losing relevance.
And they can just keep swapping players, you know. It's not like, you know, teams rise and fall. What is happening in your house? What's going on? What's going on over there?
I think it's the light. The light just went bzzz. Like I think this light is gonna fall on my head and give me an electric shock.
Did you hear that?
That's content.
I can't. I don't hear anything. I don't hear it. It's not being picked up. You have studio microphones.
It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like if a hornet got stuck in a fan. So it's like every time the fan goes around.
Maybe it is like a bug or something.
Well, but it sounds very electrical. I don't know. I'll just try not to shit my pants.
Maybe it's like a new.
It's a bit concerning.
Strong bug.
It'll be fine.
That makes very large buzzes.
Well,
let's be on the lookout for this. This is a developing storyline within today's episode.
Sure.
Look out for that.
Last week it was deliveries. Now it's the hornet trapped in our.
This is good. This is good. I like that we have a little side plot. You know, every time.
Every episode.
It's a nice little side plot that the viewers can remain interested in. But
one team that is making changes. Just to interrupt you here, Avast. Just to do my job.
Done. I'm done.
I'm doing my job here. Okay, as the host of Plat Chat, I'm doing my job.
Yes.
For once.
Okay. Do we have a problem?
No.
What?
Just go.
Introduce
I don't know.
No, just go. I was done. It was over.
What are you?
I have a problem, and it's that we're not moving the fuck on.
C9 has signed Leaf.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
I mean, yeah.
We're going to take this outside of us?
Yeah. Let's head to the vent. Let's head to the vent for the boss battle, you know? Let's go to the vent there. That'll be good.
Scrap in the car park.
I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this skit. I was hoping it would develop legs just midway through, but it just hasn't. It just hasn't at all.
It's time to let that skit die.
Yeah, it's gone. Although the skit could be the death of it, you know, that could be. It's like some sort of meta humor.
Yeah, definitely very meta humor.
Anyway, C9 assigned Leaf.
So I was thinking in the shower the other day about this Leaf transaction.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, what if Cloud9 they signed Leaf?
Oh,
but they didn't get rid of Shinobi and blow the team up.
What if they had kept?
What if they kept
Shinobi, TenZ, Vice?
I was going to go even further.
Oh?
What if they? Now I couldn't figure out which third player to keep.
Okay.
But what if they kept Shinobi, and then TenZ would have stayed in our theory.
Yeah.
And then they get Leaf and they get Zeta from Korea, and then they keep, I don't know, maybe Relics to be the Rays still, or maybe they keep Mitch to still be on the Killjoy. Unfortunately, Vice, sorry, Zeta's taking your spot in my theory.
I like Vice. I'll keep Vice on.
But you could keep Vice too. You could keep Vice too. But I'm just thinking, what if they had done that?
So you're saying they just have every player still? They have like an NFL sized bench for the C9 roster? What's going on?
No. I'm saying they kick one or two people. Yeah, people that actually. This is just my opinion, but I think that might have been a better decision.
Oh yeah, 100 fucking percent. That would have been a better decision. Cloud9 have screwed the pooch. They fucked it. They have absolutely fucked it.
But here's the thing: do we think that there's potential for them to get better?
Oh yeah, they'll get better. Leaf's a great player, but they're not gonna ever get back to
the top 3, top 2.
Yeah, they're not gonna be a top 3 team. I think they have potential to be like, maybe they can actually make this team into a top 5 team. Like I think that's possible. Are they going to win a tournament like they should have been doing when they had 10s on the roster? No, because they still have so many issues that they haven't fixed any of them. They've just made, well, no, they have fixed some of them actually, but in order to fix it, they got rid of 10s, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think they're going to be.
Dude, wait, I heard it that time. I heard it, yeah. It's like someone's buzzing at your door, like you're living in an apartment or something.
Wait, is it actually someone buzzing at the door?
No.
Has the doorbell somehow connected to the fan?
It doesn't seem likely. But anyhow.
Let's take bets. Let's take bets on what it is.
I'm too freaked out.
I'm scared.
Anyway,
yeah.
Leaf's a very good player.
Leaf is a great player. And I said this last week about Cloud9, and I'm going to stick to it, which is I think they're probably going to be like a top 8 team. And if they peak in a tournament, I think they could make a semifinal.
What am I watching?
Who
was that?
Wait, what a clip.
Who was that?
I think that was the controller player. That was the judge player.
What does he do on pistol rounds?
He just buys a shorty. But is this roster going to win a tournament? No. Is Leaf going to be a great player? Yes. Cloud9 are going to have good supports on their team? Yes. I mean, I don't know.
I feel bad for Leaf, honestly. Genuinely. Because if he had... Yeah, because even though he's looking like he's on path to be a really good player, if he had actually joined a functioning C9 team, like the best possible Cloud9 team that they could have put together, then he could have been on track to immediately jump into winning tournaments. Like that is a possibility for Cloud9.
If Cloud9 signed Leaf and kept Shinobi in 10s, they could be a tournament winning team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if they
and that is the premise under which Leaf that is the premise under which Leaf would have been beginning to trial for this team, was like based on the prior successes of C9, the fact that he'd be playing with 10s, who's doing so well in this scene, and now he's like, well, I mean, fuck yeah, they're kind of functioning, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're being too harsh on them as well, though. At the same time, I mean, we're
going to give them some time.
There's a lot of time between now and from when we last saw this team function, I suppose, when Leaf was playing with them, to when they are actually going to have to really kick it up a gear.
I mean, is it that long? It's not that long. We saw Cloud9 play
2 weeks.
We're not.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-week gap. I don't think a 2-week gap is a huge amount of time, especially because they hadn't even figured out they hadn't figured out like set roles, and the player fucking agent pools are still a massive issue for this team. So
also, I don't think we're really being negative in terms of how good they're going to be. I mean, I think they're going to be okay. I just think they could have had a tournament winning potential #1 NA roster since literally day -1. They had 10s on day -1. And this is where it's ended up. They could have had the best roster now signing Leaf. They could have had the best roster 4 months ago. They could have had the best roster fucking a year ago, man. It should, it's a little bit of they screwed it up a little bit, right? Is this roster still going to be good though? Yeah. Are the players still good? Yeah. But you're looking at this and you're thinking it's could have been the best team.
Yeah. It's you're looking at top 5. You're looking at trying to make semifinals, maybe trying to make quarterfinals, maybe pushing for a semis in this kind of stuff. But it's so much wasted potential,
which is good.
Yeah, it's still good.
That is really good actually.
But it's good. It's good for the players. It's not good for the org.
Think they'd be like bottom 12, but like they're really not that bad. It looks like.
No, but that's the thing. I'm not saying the players are bad. They will be a terrible team. Shame on their families. I'm saying I'm saying that Cloud9, the organization, has made pretty much the wrong move at every possible decision point that they had. Like the decision tree that Cloud9 had, they went down the fucking squirrely path every single time, and they've ended up in a bit of a dead end where glory was just 2 right turns away, and they fucked it. So that's where it annoys me, is that even if Cloud9 end up looking good in these tournaments, I'm still going to be sat there thinking, what could have been?
Yeah.
Well, we all have to move forward, at some point. We all have to.
True. And speaking
look
of moving
towards the
forward,
future.
But is this roster good? Yeah. And are the players on the team good? Yeah. But it's you can't.
I just saw Bren's face and Wyatt's Molly. Bren just like.
He's not wrong.
What, you want to move on now?
Yeah, I'd like to move on.
Go on then.
That's okay.
Fine.
Immortals have added nature and Kehmicals.
Yeah, I'm sure they paid you $30,000 to talk about how much you like this move.
I'm actually pretty ignorant of this move.
Oh.
I don't really know of the grand scheme of things. The only thing that I'm thinking of Immortals these days is there's probably going to be some viewers watching who aren't aware of the recent rumors that are developing around, I guess, the Immortals owned group in Overwatch.
The Immortals Gaming Club or whatever they're called.
The Immortals Gaming Club is making moves across. I don't know. This is just general. It doesn't really have much to do with these 2 players being added, but I guess it kind of does, because I think it does change the direction in which they have in their minds for what they want out of the team.
Definitely.
Because it makes a bit more sense now why they got rid of Asuna and Dicey, or sold Asuna and Dicey, despite them being so promising, which is that the Immortals Gaming Club...
And Cola.
Yeah, and Cola. It's come out that the Immortals Gaming Club are essentially focusing on non-esports endeavors.
And that's been since November.
That has been since November. Yeah, that was when the report was, but now we're actually seeing it coming into action, like it's rumored to be happening in Overwatch. And I feel like some of the earlier moves that Immortals have made as a team in Valorant start to make a bit more sense. Like, we were justifying it as the coaching staff is really good, so they'll be able to pick up similar players. And like, that's the kind of like early plan for Immortals, as they sell these players, earn a quick buck, and then they can jump in. But this is the article. This is way back in November, where they are going to... It was rumored that they were going to be in some sort of deal to, I don't know, do something with the Overwatch League spot, sell it or whatever.
Yeah, give up direction.
Yeah, give up rights and directions to it. But there's a quote earlier in this article from...
I think it's later in the article, actually.
Later into the article, towards the end.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is. Where is it?
Wait, no, I think it's further up from this, actually. It's...
we'll get it eventually.
It's Ari Siegel, and he's saying...
Is it in this one? There it is.
So. Yeah, there
We've enjoyed strong growth in our non-team asset portfolio and are excited to leverage a strong balance sheet and focus our time, energy, and capital and other resources on these aspects of the business. So...
Which is business speak for saying that they're making money in... actually like creating products instead of
non-team asset portfolio, basically not esports. Is where they're making money right now, and that's what they're pivoting towards.
We enjoy having a strong balance sheet. We enjoy making money, not pissing money away on esports.
Well, technically, non-team asset portfolio can also refer to content and marketing and a lot of other aspects that revolve around esports that aren't owning teams, right? Like they could technically be like level 99 in a way where like they're a design studio that does stuff work for esports teams, but it's non-team assets, right? Like, as in like they're not actually owning them. Yeah. But probably the reason, more than likely, they're just saying, yeah, fuck off with the esports stuff. So.
The reason I bring it up is because I think this kind of background information is necessary when you're thinking about Immortals as a team now moving forward as well. Because you have to wonder as well, what is the end goal of this team? Is this team... Is the prospects of this team just now to be essentially just building up talent, a place of like temporary refuge for these players?
Pure farm team.
Yeah, like a farm team from this point.
Which can be really successful. Those kind of teams still have a place in the ecosystem. They're just normally tier 3, tier 2 kind of teams.
Yeah, I think it's hard to... Here's the thing. I think it's hard to say for sure... given that they they're so good at scouting the talent that it seems like they could be a top team at any time. It's kind of hard to I guess, see what they're really trying to do. Like I thought with the JMO move that alluded to me that they were trying to really put together a top competing team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I had thought actually.
But yeah, I mean, look, these moves, I think these are two good pickups. That team SOR, that team was ridiculously stacked with upcoming talent, which they displayed in full on the first strike qualifier. Well, what's interesting about this to me is that evidently this guy Nature is going to be the in-game leader, and JC Stani doesn't want to be the in-game leader anymore.
That is
in the SOAR games in First Strike, Nature was just a freak. I don't know, maybe you can find a Kurt, but there was one game in particular in a BO3 on Haven where he just dropped some ridiculous stats on Reyna. He looked mega talented. Kehmicals looked really solid too, and also on that SOAR team was ridiculous. They also had Poise, fucking Doink Machine.
Yeah,
and they have their. I haven't seen their Sova recently, but their Sova, who's named Sofa, which is very confusing for speaking words. He was also really talented. That team was just stacked.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to see Immortals grab a couple players from there. I think
they have some
these guys
Asian
are good.
overlap here as well. But it's particularly between Shot Up and Nature.
Yeah.
It's like on top of the fact that JC Stani, who's been on IGL for Immortals this entire time, for the most part.
Yeah, I think so.
Is now, so they don't have JC Stani IGLing anymore. And Shot Up and Nature have very similar role overlap. So, like, Kehmicals has been a Jett player, so that's fine. They don't currently have, like, a Jett player on this roster. But I'm interested to see because I imagine they'd want to put, if I were going to choose, it's actually a tough choice because Shot Up is pretty mechanically gifted on those heroes too. Like he's been doing fine.
Yeah,
so I don't even know exactly how they're going to get those roles divvied up.
Yeah, I mean, presumably one of the incoming players is going to transition over to playing Smokes or Sova or Sentinel, and then Gangster and Stani will just fill because they're the team players, the fill players.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what Stani is going to play. Given that he doesn't want an in-game lead, is he going to try to switch to Duelist? Is Nature?
He specifically said in his tweet.
I don't really want to see the Reyna IGL. I mean, maybe. I mean, if you make it work, have fun. But it doesn't seem ideal, right?
Yeah, he says he's focused on fragging when he takes a step back from IGL. Is what JC Stani said. So I don't know if that means he's just going to play the same role but want to frag harder, or if he actually wants to swap.
I would imagine he plays the same role. He was really good in that role in terms of like actually being in the right place at the right time for the rest of his team. And you want to put Nature in the most comfortable position he wants to play IGL from, which I assume is Duelist if that's what he's been playing previously, right? So then I would imagine that Kehmicals is the one to switch over to something else.
I think Kehmicals is playing Cypher. I was under the impression he's playing
really?
Cypher.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched too much of these guys either. I haven't really been following that SOAR team, so I'm just interested to see how Immortals end up looking, and I hope that the instability within the organization overall, or at least the alleged instability, is not going to affect their Valorant team too much, because they are in a pretty decent position in the scene, where they have good coaches, a good reputation, players want to play for them, players know that if they come to them, they'll get sold to better organizations as well. Like they've managed to... I say the coaches have managed to develop a good reputation for that organization within the Valorant scene. So I just hope that they carry on.
Yeah, I feel that the what we were talking about before with Immortals in terms of what they're trying to do economically, I think that maybe more than anything, it's just gives reason as to why they just keep going for these upcoming players rather than trying to sign big talent, but then also just in conjunction with the fact that they have such good coaching staff, they're actually making it work in terms of being a successful team while also economically viable for their goals as a company.
Yeah.
So it just sort of aligns and works in both those ways, because this roster, much like every other Immortal roster, I think this should probably be somewhere in the top 10 or so teams, top 8 or so teams. So
yeah, God, my brain was empty for a second then. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. Yeah, not really much more I've got to add. You like that, didn't you? Huh? Caught me off guard.
It's just yeah.
Little chuck out of you, huh? With your fine art piece behind you.
It is a fine art piece. Still don't know the orientation.
It looks a little bit.
I forgot.
Does look a little bit crooked.
Yeah, I think. Well,
is it the webcam?
I don't know. It's not. I think it's the camera because it's not crooked.
Also, the more artwork you put on your wall, it looks like the more we have on our wall. So if you could just fill up your background.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get some more stuff up there. I have like a. Oh, I have this. Wait. What do you guys?
Why have you got a baguette in your bed, by the way? You have the cow picture. That's
I have
amazing.
the cow picture. I have a painting of it.
Avast, as good as that is, why do you have a baguette in your bed? Is that not a baguette? That looks like a really big loaf of bread.
That is a piece of French bread as a pillow.
I snuggle up with that at night.
The reason
Wrap your legs around it.
I have a secret Santa group that I'm a part of with a bunch of college friends or university for you British people.
But you only see them once a year. That seems like a very.
I don't see them once a year. I talk to them and see them. Well, I haven't seen them that recently in terms of face to face because of the ongoing health issues. But I talk to them all the time, and we do a secret Santa, and that was the gift I received.
You do an all year round secret Santa. You talk to them just all year round, talking about your secret Santa.
I don't talk to them only for secret Santa. These are my friends. These are people I know. So thus, we perform an event called Secret Santa, Josh, and they give us, we exchange gifts in this event. And so it happens around Christmas time. And so they gave me this as Secret Santa.
You've gone and angered the young men. We're having a good time.
I've never done Secret Santa.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I'm not a fan of Secret Santa.
No?
Yeah, well, that's because you're not jolly.
Why?
You're not very jolly, Wyatt.
It's too much. What are you talking about?
You're not jolly.
I'm not jolly?
I'm going to say it. I'll say it right. I say it. You're not jolly.
I wouldn't define you as jolly either, no.
Yeah.
No, you should see me right. Who do you think? I was dressed up as Santa for Christmas. What are you talking about?
You're just commodifying Santa. You're not truly jolly.
I'm doing it for economic reasons.
Commodifying doesn't have to be economic. Yeah. It could also be like you're essentially using it for your own purposes.
You did throw out my Christmas tree as well.
I didn't throw out your Christmas tree.
With each statement, you become less jolly. With each statement, I hear.
He burnt it down in the back garden.
Okay.
He said, "I hate this commercialized holiday. It's lost meaning from its original intention." Back in 1776.
That's not jolly.
Saint Nicholas.
What the hell were we talking about?
We're talking about EXO Clan moving to North America as Soniqs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. They said that they wanted to move over to NA. It's the best Australian team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're coming to NA. I've only watched a tiny bit of Australian or Oceanic, I suppose, Valorant. When I tuned in, it looked awful. I mean, it looked like really low quality, but I didn't give it too much of my time. Partly because it looked bad on first impressions. So maybe my first impressions were wrong.
When was the last time you watched?
First Strike.
Mine was.
I watched the tournament before First Strike, and then I watched the finals, some of the finals of First Strike, and then I was just like, this isn't. I have other things to do.
I remember. Do you remember we watched that Australian tournament at like 2 a.m.?
Oh yeah.
And one time that was the last time I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak my truth. I've never seen them at all. Don't know how. I haven't seen this team at all, so I really have no opinion whatsoever.
Yeah.
But they don't have visas yet to work in the US, as far as I'm aware. Like the article said that they are still trying to get visas. And if they manage to navigate their visas, navigate COVID, move to NA and play, I'm not even sure they're allowed to under the rules. I thought that you weren't allowed to just move to another region and play there. You had to have 3 from that region.
That's what I thought too.
So
I'm
like
going to move to NA and then be forced to, I don't know.
They must have. I mean, I like to think that they've thought that far ahead and they've got in touch with someone at Riot and they've got the go-ahead or something like that.
What if they haven't, though?
If they haven't, I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? That's the most esports thing I've ever heard.
I mean,
and also on top of that, isn't Australia and like a region typically? I remember I've heard this many times how it supposedly, for some reason, Australia is actually a region that's hard to get visas to the US for.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe.
That's what I was told by an Australian person.
It's definitely hard to get visas into Australia,
Yeah.
My headset's dying.
America is also just a very hard country to get into. Both of them.
Yeah. That's why you got to sneak in.
Now we can really shit talk Connor Prince while he can't hear us.
I can hear you still. I can hear you.
Fuck.
The headset still has, there's volume coming from it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I like it. It would certainly help them to improve. Yeah, I mean, from what I have seen in the Australian scene, I'm not, I'm not head over heels.
Just having good quality scrims does a lot to elevate.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to say. If they could only play third-party tournaments, would it still be worth the move?
I think so.
If they weren't allowed to play, if the rules were, as we believe them, that you need 3 players from North America, and I think you have to be living here for, I want to say 18 months or something before you qualify as NA.
Yeah.
If you had to just play third-party NA tournaments for 18 months, is that worth it for an Aussie team like EXO?
Could they boot camp in an A with this visa and then go play in Australia still?
For
could
the major tournaments?
What they got a visa so they could stay here long term to practice. Could they just go back to Australia to play the tournaments there?
If you had a long-term visa, you could re-entry. It would be mega expensive.
I don't know what their financials might be or what their goals are. I'm just saying that could be a really interesting system.
Yeah. They could certainly use the third-party NA tournaments and the scrims. I mean, they could definitely use the practice, because the thing for me is when I watch these Australian games, there's definitely some mechanical skill. Some of the players definitely look good, but the team play overall, the utility usage, it's not where the other regions are. At least based on last I saw, which were First Strike games. It just really isn't comparable to the other top regions when you're thinking of NAEU, Brazil, Korea. So, listen, if they can even come over for boot camping, that kind of practice, I'm sure it would be beneficial to them. I don't know if that's economically viable for Soniqs or whatever they're trying to do, but for the team, it would certainly behoove them to get practice against better teams that have better synergy as a team.
Cool. Yeah. I think it'll be a cool move. The next move, though, that I'm looking at here on the Runner show, I'm actually pretty excited for. It's Brazilian org Furia.
Yeah.
They're picking up Xandi, and QCK. I don't know how to pronounce the second one.
I mean, just go for QCK.
Yeah, QCK.
You're not going to use the Portuguese letter names.
Yeah,
would be.
Don't know Portuguese, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But they're entering the Valorant scene with these 2 players. I mean, both of these players both specified as well that they wanted to join a team together.
Yeah,
they were going to be joining a team together.
That's pretty crazy good.
So this is exciting. This is the kind of shakeup that we're seeing at the Brazilian level. I think Xandi is potentially. I said I think in a tweet easily top 5. I think it's a top 3, actually. I think easily top 3, but always punching as well for even beyond that point. And Furia, as far as I'm aware, are a massive org in Brazil.
Yeah,
again, not too familiar with it, but...
Giga big.
Yeah. So this is big moves. The question is as well, who do they surround them with? I don't know what this video is. It is like a fever dream.
I think it makes more sense if you know Portuguese, but maybe not.
At the same time, it plays like an Adult Swim skit. Like he transforms into... Can I see the start again? Sorry, Kurt. Look at this. He just transforms into Rain.
I mean, I get what they're going for stylistically, right? They want to represent him playing the agent, but it is odd. It is interesting.
It is, but it's also like in a business meeting. Like the context of it is like it's an office. Like, hey, welcome to the team, and he's like, "Yep."
And then he's like, "Autobot."
He's like, "Welcome to the team. This is what I imagine is going on here. I want you to perform really well, and I want to see the best out of you. Welcome to the team." Thanks, coach. Transform time. And then it's just
the problem with this is you're making up the dialogue completely.
Yeah,
it might make some level of sense.
Yeah,
and you're just going, hey, welcome to the team. Fist pump, turn into Rainer. I mean, you're turning it into utter nonsense.
Yeah, I know. But besides the point, I am fucking excited for this team.
Yeah.
I think if they build another top contender, Brazil is always kind of like in flux with the top teams, but I think it's always fun.
Yeah. Then we'll have Gamelanders, we'll have Vorax Fusion, we'll have the new Vikings team with Sayf. We'll have this team. Apparently, there's some more players rumored, but I don't know who they are.
Well, no, I think it's announced. They signed Khalil, they signed Teddy. I don't think it's been announced yet, but the speculation seems to be that they're signing NZR, who plays for Estral, the team that won the Latin America first strike.
Argentinian.
Argentinian player.
Right.
He is a freak as well. Actually, more than anyone on the I can say more than anyone, but he's another player on the roster that's mega skilled. It'll be exciting to see him as well.
There's a lot of role overlap here, though. A lot of role overlap.
I think with Shandy and
QCK, but also, what does Khalil play? Doesn't Khalil and Teddy, aren't they both Cypher players? Yeah. So then you have so there's no obvious pick there for who the smoke player is going to be, and no knowledge of really how good they're going to be. And also, I mean, Shandy can play anything, and I think you stick him on the Raze and you have Raze and QCK on the Jett, and that is perfectly fine. And I'm fine with them messing around there as well. Yeah. But I know that there was some talk. I've seen Brazilian fans commenting about how QCK, there's like this idea in the scene that he's, I don't know, like a little immature or something, or still needs to develop as a player. I don't exactly know because I haven't been like ingrained in the scene, but I think QCK left a previous team and joined something else, and maybe a little too individualistic, his style of play too. So I think even though they seem like they have a bit of a nutty roster, there's still question marks around this team as to, how good they're actually going to be.
Yeah, man, they are close to the monitor, I must say. Looking at this clip, this is some extreme close-ups with the monitor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is QCK might be the question mark for me too. He's mega skilled, but was fairly. He was just like he actually kind of reminds me of Shanks. Actually,
yeah, I was gonna say Shanks, right?
He's kind of like Dignitas Shanks-esque when you watch him. Though I think he might be more individually talented than Shanks. But in terms of, for people who haven't seen, what you're going to see in the server with like the aggression. Very comparable, I think. Well, so he's kind of a question mark for me in that. But he is, he's just another mega talent. His skill's ridiculous. So it's more so about working him out in the team aspect in that way for me. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to concur with you. For different reasons, though, as well. Like Shanks, I think, is the most apt comparison because that's where people have also leveled the kind of complaints about him being immature.
Sure.
As well. Yeah. So it's like almost complete parallels to it. But there's no question about the mechanical skill, but it's who they surround them with is the real question mark. Because I think that's actually the lacking aspect of Brazil as a scene is not in the duelist players. It's, I think, in the players that, what was this? Is that they're going to be supporting them a lot of the times, playing the sentinel role or whatever else, the controller role. And building the team around it, because that's always been the lacking aspect of Brazil whenever I've watched. And I think it's pretty important. It's an important role, at least, as well in Brazil, because at the end of the day, if everyone is a top-tier duelist, then nobody's a top-tier duelist. Or at least that's where the bar gets set.
Look at that shit. Look at that shit. The pre-nerf general. It's crazy.
Yeah.
QR code in the corner.
Josh, do you think this is like, you brought forth the hypothesis earlier about like, bringing on talented players, because we were talking about the stand-in Silenx for Silenx for 100 Thieves. Do you think this is a situation, since QCK and Xandy, they have overlapping roles, but they're just really mechanically talented, you can just get them to play whatever and it's probably fine for this current stage of the game?
The problem there, though, is that I think Silenx fits so well with 100 Thieves because they have a great structure. They have players that are going to be able to coach him, and he's fitting into a pre-existing team. So you only have to focus that work into that one individual. On this team, you actually have to focus the work on maybe a number of individuals. You're going to have to focus the work on whichever Cypher player ends up transitioning to Smokes. And then you're going to have to focus the work on actually integrating the entire team together, because they all come from different teams. There's no... At least as far as I'm aware, there's no core of even 2 players, right? Maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe
I'm trying to think. I honestly can't remember exactly, but you're on.
There's certainly there's no large core at the very least. Yeah, so you have to start basically at the beginning with the teamwork, and then also you have the overlapping pools with the duelist. Yeah. I think the duelist is the least important of those problems, but you have way more issues in that sense. So, I don't know. I don't feel as good about it.
Really? I'm actually pretty... I think this is going to be a really strong team.
Really, I don't have enough confidence because I just don't.
I actually have a lot of confidence.
It feels like a super team. It feels like that classic example of like, we'll just get really good players and we'll be a good team. And I'm like, there's still so much work between good players and good team.
They're definitely going to need development, but there's just
too much skill to lose.
Yeah, there's not that there's too much skill to lose, but there's too much skill for them not to have a high floor to work from.
Yeah.
Also, I actually have a lot of confidence as well in NCR, the Argentinian player.
Right.
From what I've seen from him, which, albeit it's not a ton of gameplay, but from what I've watched, I was very impressed. So I think this team will be very good.
Interesting.
Well, there we have it.
Yeah. On the other side of things, like it's a world away, isn't it? What, like 10,000 miles? Gambit.
Yeah.
That's another team.
Sure, that's 10,000 miles away from Brazil.
I think so.
I think it actually is.
Yeah.
Fact check.
It's like roughly
I heard Kurt
10,000.
typing right away. I heard the keys clacking.
So we get a fact check on that one. Real test
Brazil
of geography. Redgar's is being introduced as the IGL now as over Sunset.
Yeah. Gambit are a really promising team in the CIS region, but they just haven't lived up to... I mean, they've done well, but they were supposed to be kind of the CIS super team, and they've been like between second and third in the region. So this is a change to try and push them up and over that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, not much more into that I can really take from this other than changes are necessary, making changes. We'll see how it goes beyond that point. And the IGL is a big one to, I think, shift the role into as well, because it means that typically when players are, for lack of a better term, I guess, subjected to being the IGL, you see a reduction in their individual performance because they're thinking about the game, they're coming, they're playing at the same time. But yeah, a shift in those responsibilities can sometimes lead to massive improvements because some people are just more suited towards it than others. No one really wants to do it, it feels like, either. No, it's a role that no one wants to fill.
There's a lot of pressure. And it's a ton of pressure.
Hard. Yeah.
Being the caller in any team is a very tough role because it doesn't even matter the game realistically, because if you're not succeeding in it, then the team is more often than not failing. And if you are succeeding in it, then you're looking worse individually. And then you could have a call structure that's really good, but some players don't structure well with it, right? Like you could be like, this is a great call system, but this guy that's really important to our team doesn't like how you call. So then how do you move forward from that? And how does the org reconcile a good IGL that's different from a player they want to keep? You know, it's like, it's a sort of a role where it's all about the communication. It's why you realize like that communication is arguably one of the most important human skills you can have in any part of life. And like when it's just like a tough skill to have.
If I was a coach, I'm handing out the bananas.
Yeah.
In between map 1, map 2.
Yeah.
And I'm there behind them. I'm giving them back rubs. I'm saying, right, boys, we got this, you know?
Yep.
I'm giving the IGL 2 bananas instead of 1.
Yeah.
Because
double fist bananas.
No, well, just because if you think about it, you know, chess players, they burn so many calories during chess tournaments that I feel like this is actually like, this is an aspect of esports that we haven't considered yet.
Right, the nutritional demands of the IGL.
Yeah, seriously. I reckon if you measured is there a way that you can measure the calories burnt?
I mean, you could measure their weight before and afterwards, or you could see how many.
How do they do it for chess players?
I mean, surely there's.
They have monitored diets.
Aren't there it's an estimation also of like various vital like signs, I'm sure, right? And sort of like conflating that with your average like human biometrics, right? I imagine it's sort of an average. Like I don't know if there's an actual measurement of like calories burnt easily.
I
right?
want to see a study done
like
on IGLs and their nutritional intake and what they demand, what their body demands compared to their friends.
Right.
And colleagues.
Get onto that, scientists.
Because I think you would see an increase with the IGLs.
Okay. Well, Bren's Player of the Week has been given many times to the scientific community, so I'm sure they have a bit of a debt there.
Get a peer review going on.
Just ready to pay back at any
Get a little peer review paper going on. Yeah. I mean, I don't have much else to add on to this. I don't know if you guys want to tack on something.
Gambit are a very young team, and I think that if they have a real solid IGL, that should help them too. They kind of choked a little bit in first strike, I would say, even though they were the favorites in the CIS region, and they've been losing to fours recently, who have actually been kind of tearing up the CIS and Tier 2 tournament structure recently. So watch out for the CIS teams, because as soon as the CIS and the Turkish teams get to play with the Europeans again, if there is like a big $50,000 tournament or something run by ESL that happens in Europe and anyone's allowed to apply, and it isn't just locked down to the regions that Riot has dictated, then you could definitely see CIS and Turkish teams beating the top European teams. So don't sleep on at least the top 2 teams in each region. Cool. Gambit, Fours, BBL, Oxygen, maybe Footballist as well.
Yeah. Whatever happened to guilds? Do they still exist?
Yes. They do.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily talking about a team, but I've just a concept of a guild, a collection of tradesmen.
Technically, isn't that just like a union?
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah, if you're really pretentious, you call it a guild. That's why they have the Screen Actors Guild. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a collection of specialists.
Really pretentious actors who are forced to, be inside of a guild if you have more than 3 lines in a movie or something.
The Esports Talent Guild.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We should make our own guild, a little exclusive Esports
Talent Guild.
Yeah.
Hey, Avast,
the ETG.
Do you want to join my guild?
Sure. Which part is your guild the Esports Talent Guild, or what's your guild? Is this the Anti-Jolly Guild?
No, it's the Esports Talent Guild.
Oh, okay. I'll join that guild.
Do you think when they made the org guild, they intended, like, that was the purpose behind it? Did they think of the word guild because of it's like
unions?
Because the tie to like it being like a specialized group of people.
Yeah, it's because it's gaming,
or because it's like, or because it's been associated now with gaming because of World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
probably
it's gaming.
The latter.
Yes, they weren't like I'm a big fan of the Screen Actors Guild. Let's call our team Guild.
I think it could be dual. It could be gaming and it could be fancy. You know, because Guild Esports, right? It's like part owned by David Beckham, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure he chose the name.
What do you think David was thinking about when he chose Guild? Was he trying to hit the market of union workers?
Maybe he was thinking about the homonym Guild, like gilded, like made of gold.
Well, the point being, it's not David Beckham.
Isn't it spelled differently?
I think he likes it because it's fancy. It sounds fancy.
What do you mean it's spelled differently?
Sorry to interrupt, Connor Prince, but
Such a bougie name.
I don't know why this episode people are gonna be like, does Bren just fucking hate Avast? Because I feel like I'm going
We're
back
gonna
and
settle
forth.
this. We're gonna settle this in the vents where the giant monstrous bug is hiding. We're gonna settle it then.
Yeah, I don't know what. As you said that, the vents kicked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Guild, yeah, spelled differently.
What is spelled differently?
Guild, to gild an object.
Right.
To give it like a gold leaf trim.
Yes, spelled differently. I believe there's no U in it.
It's just G-I-L-D.
Yeah, that's G-I-L-D.
G-I-L-D. Anyway, about the news about Guild.
Okay, yeah.
It was meant to be a segue, but I fucking blow at hosting. So it just ended up being
a tangent.
A tangent instead.
Yeah. I just was wondering if that last point about the spelling difference between the two different meanings of Guild, did that have a point?
No. It didn't. Here it is. It's fucking Thanos.
Okay.
Swinging his hips. Look at him go. The circle's moving in, Thanos. Better get moving. Sayf officially joins Guild. Yeah, this is a long time coming.
Yeah. I mean, he was trolling on his stream saying he wasn't going to join Guild.
Oh, really?
He was like, I am joining a team, but it's not Guild. And people were coming in my chat being like, oh my God, the reports were wrong. And Sayf's just been trolling people.
Yeah, well, glad to see it happened.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see this. And they signed a coach as well.
Yeah.
Barbar was like a long-time vet of the Swedish CS scene.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Were they supposed to line up the names so it looks like they've added Sabar?
Oh, yeah. Well, look. Yeah.
Like that just looks like one big name.
Safe. And you can see the safe there, like the F, and then it merges into the B.
Pretty cool. I wonder if that was intentional.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
I'm almost certain it
probably. I like the move. I think Sayf returning to Guild is huge moves. I feel really good about Guild. Like they were missing Sayf.
Mm-hmm.
Yassine's good. Yeah. Sayf is exactly what Yassine needs, so that when Yassine goes on some crazy play, Sayf is given all the space to clean up the round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Hopefully. Go on.
I was going to say, when they were on the come up, I was thinking very highly of Bonk, pre-guild when they were Bonk, and they were rising up the ranks in EU. I was very hype on them. The Yacine Sayf duo was probably the number one reason why, so I'm excited to see it back.
Yep. I was just going to say, and hopefully we get to see them perform in the 24K Red Bull home ground preview.
Real well done with that.
Clean, fucking clean. Am I right?
Smooth. Yeah, you
can't even see the fist bump. It was behind. It looked like you both just fisted Avast.
We just both punched him in the head at the same time.
You know what? I'll take it. Bren's ongoing feud with me has led to direct pummeling.
I don't want to take it to the vents. I want to take it to the show floor. Yeah, I mean, the teams that are involved in the Red Bull ground preview.
What? How do you read this and think the name of the tournament is the Red Bull ground preview?
The Red Bull home ground.
Yeah.
And then we're previewing.
Yes.
Red Bull ground preview.
The preview is not. The preview is a separate word from the tournament.
I did think that was a weird name for the tournament.
And you'd be correct if that was the name for the tournament.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, God.
Who's involved? Who do we have? The teams?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of the top teams. Not all of them, though.
Yeah.
This is, they had an open qualification for the final spot. So what you're looking at here is the open qualifier.
Who qualified? I didn't even see.
If we go to the closed qualifier, actually, which is to the left, it was a team called Frenzy Go Kill, which I don't know why, but it's the Vitality team. And they just were not playing as Vitality.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like Vac, Sender, Feku, Brams.
What has Big been doing?
And
are we ever gonna call? I mean,
they've just been slow. They've just been existing at the tier 2 level.
Yeah, they've just kind of existed for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I watched this match last night. Actually, this VOD of them playing against Diffuse. This team is good. This Vitality team is immediately a good team. I'm not saying that they are like world class straight off the bat, because Diffuse, I want to put them at like the 10th position, something like that in Europe. I don't know. I haven't thought about it too heavily, but I think that's like the rough position that they're at. And this team manhandled them. I mean, they looked so much cleaner with what they were doing. Mega confident players. Very active and aggressive in post plants as well. They were planning on A Haven, and they were actively flashing into spawn to like take the fight to them to meet up with the guy who was pinching from mid. So anytime they went to try and flush out the lurker in mid, you'd given up the AB connector, because these guys that were planting on A Haven were pushing through to your AB connector. And that was the same when they moved on to play on Bind, for example, as well. They had very aggressive post-plant play too. They seem like the kind of team that's in that honeymoon period where everything's clicking, they're playing really aggressively, and they're all hitting their shots, and it's just working. Sender looks like a beast on the breach as well. He is facilitating so much of their aggressive play. They're a very fun team to watch.
Intriguing. And they're going
this is a good tournament for them to play in, right? Because and for us to see new guild coming up in NIP again, because like Liquid Summon and Summon are both here.
Yeah.
Football.
Who are the other teams?
It's basically
the other teams are those.
It's all of the top teams apart from FPX and Heretics.
Yeah. So you got your G2, you got your Summon. Who else is in there? Footballists.
Footballists are in there, and then obviously NIP and Guild. So
tasty,
Liquid. I mean, I suppose that the notable losses are like FPX, Heretics. I don't think Fours are playing in it.
No.
So you're missing out on the top CIS team, and also no BBL. They were the team that actually won in Turkey, but instead they've gone for Footballist. But Footballist are really good too. They're a really good Turkish team.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great tournament, and hopefully has a good format, which I have high hopes. Is the format released actually? I didn't see.
I don't know. It'll be on Liquipedia if it has been released, though, I think. So we could look that up. Or actually, it might even be, I think they have like a website for it too. But
because at least the qualifying format, pretty good.
Yeah.
So you would expect that the actual tournament format is also going to be pretty good. It will be very nice to have a solid EU tournament in what feels like forever, because it's been a long time.
It's surprising. I mean, I can understand why. Did you say it was Heretics and FPX who aren't playing in it? Yeah, I can understand why, because the EU First Strike, or not First Strike, the EU Challengers.
Yeah. Was it in one week time?
It got pushed up. It was originally supposed to be, I think, on either the 8th or maybe the 12th. I could be making up dates, but it got pushed to the 4th, the same time, same start time as North America.
So that's pretty much in 1 week.
It's almost immediately afterwards. So you're going to be revealing a lot of stuff if you're trying to win it.
Yeah. And also, Heretics, what's his name? I think it's Taniz HQ, the coach for Heretics.
Yeah.
Or is it Tazin? I think it's Taniz.
No, Taniz. I thought it's Taniz HQ, right?
Okay.
I've always said Taniz HQ.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I just mix up the consonants. But yeah, Taniz was in the chat for the home grounds qualification, kind of hinting and implying that they declined the invite because they're working on something specific. He was like, yeah, you guys will see like why we declined the invite pretty shortly. I'm assuming it's not a player swap, because this would be like crazy to announce a player swap this late. Especially when you just won. But what I'm imagining is it's a pretty significant compositional swap, or maybe even role swap. But like probably the Sage stuff got figured out or something like that, and they've had to redesign some of their composition. So I'm really interested for whenever that comes back. Obviously, FPX playing with a brand new player as well, so they probably need some time to integrate. What the fuck is his name? I've already forgotten. Demasek, into the lineup.
Kurt, could you pull up the main event again? I just want to make sure we're not missing any teams we're running through, just like the main event teams list. I'm interested to see, though, how G2 are going to bounce back from suffering their first loss. They've had some time, obviously, new player on the team. So it'll be interesting to see that.
Is it just it's just a straight up single elim bracket, though?
It's just a single elim.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks like
3 bracket.
Yeah, I don't think there's any groups. At least the groups aren't on here. So if there are groups, then we've been bamboozled.
Yeah.
But who is the 8th team then? I thought the 8th team was Frenzy Go Kill. Where's the
where is the last team, like a to be announced team, I think?
Maybe.
I think I read online somewhere that the last team was a to be announced special team.
Oh yeah.
Don't know.
That's weird.
Don't know if that's like an actual team or if it's. Let me look.
That is super strange. Why did they do that? I thought they had 7 invited teams in the final spot for qualification.
Let me Google this.
Yeah, it was something wacky like that. This is I mean, I'm excited to watch this though.
Also, this format, is pretty interesting for this tournament too.
Yeah.
They're saying that this format is teams will pick a home ground map before each best of 5.
Oh my
God.
The
first 2 maps played will be the team's chosen home ground. If one team wins both, they move on to the next round. If not, they play out the BO5. So if you win 2 maps in a row out of a BO5, if they're your home maps, you just win. You just win.
Wait, it's all BO5s?
It's BO5s.
Wait, but it's BO5s, but you win if you win 2-0.
2, yes. If you win your home maps, 2. You
can't win 3-0. You can only win 2-0 or 3-1 or 3-2.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
It's better than BO1s.
It's better than BO1s, but who decided to make Europe the experimental ground of the world, where they're just like, hey, you got a kooky idea, throw it at Europe?
It's only 7 teams.
There's only what?
Yeah, I've just looked it up. So there's essentially, they got the 6 teams and then 1 qualification team, which is the special team. So there's only 7 teams somehow in an 8-team bracket.
And then what does that say?
So that is 8 teams then.
Unconfirmed.
Because they have a special guest.
Oh, this is updated.
Oh, it also says unconfirmed.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got a special guest team.
Oh my God.
What's happening?
What's happening with
the Red Bull tournament?
You can't list it as a special guest, but you don't know if they're showing up. That's not a good idea.
If they don't, does the team just get a bye? Someone's just going to get a bye then, right? I
mean, I guess it's going to G2, you get a bye. Oh, yeah, Liquid are in this. I mean, this is a good tournament.
They'll just invite someone else.
Yeah, they'll just invite another team.
You can't run out of teams to invite.
They might be looking for like a streamer team.
Or maybe there's
streamer team?
I don't know.
Vast, what do you play? Well, you play any Sentinel?
I play Sentinel. You know, I'm willing to flex. I'm not a duelist though. I'm much more of a Sentinel or a Smokes type of guy.
You know what they call me?
I am just befuddled by this home ground.
So what is the concept? Because I was looking up the thing.
I'll explain this again. So home ground. So this is directly from the announcement. Home ground will have a format unlike that seen at any previous Valorant tournament. That's not necessarily a good thing, by the way. Just want to put that out there. I don't know why, but teams will pick a home ground map before each best of 5. The first 2 maps played will be the team's chosen home ground. If one team wins both, they move on to the next round. So pretty much you pick a map, your opponent picks a map. So if you win your home ground and then the opponent's home ground map, so only 2 maps out of the BO5, you now win the game and move forward to the next round because you have defeated your opponent's map pick.
I honestly, I don't think this is terrible though.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It's just it's just one of the stranger
things. Yeah, it is strange.
It's very odd.
It's strange, but so at the very wait.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, so it's strange, but at the very least, you're gonna see 2 teams both get a chance to play on their best map.
Yeah.
And if a team is able to win on their map pick and then also the opponent's best map pick, it's as if they've won a BO3. And
it's
you
pretty
beat
much
them
like
on
a
their best
mercy
map.
kill rule, early.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's the only thing it
okay,
stops is the BO5 reverse sweep, where you get up 2-0 and you actually win the next 3. Which
also Yoru is banned.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
If the teams are picking the same maps, aren't you going to see the same maps the entire tournament? Like a ton of the same map?
It's very possible.
I think it should. No, it should just be the exact same as normal though, because it's got the same map picking rules. Like normally, a BO5 would be I pick one, you pick one.
Isn't Kurt saying though, like if G2 pick Haven, not they're gonna pick Haven, but if they just pick Haven, you're just gonna see G2 on Haven every single time.
Oh, you have to lock in one home ground for the whole tournament.
Well, I'm assuming teams will do that, right?
They didn't say that it's locked in for the whole tournament. They just said they'll pick it before each best of 5. So theoretically, it can't change. But also, why would you swap it if that's your map you want to play?
But you would swap it based on your opponent's weaknesses too. Like when people have map picks in normal tournaments, they don't always pick the exact same map. They have like a choice of 2 of them. Like you're normally good at 2 maps and you pick whichever one you feel is better versus your opponent.
This is gonna be I can see some ways that this is just so stupid though. Yeah. If one team just has some wild Icebox gameplay, they just pick Icebox and go all the way through. Or I mean, like not that that's. You never know.
Yeah,
that could happen. Maybe the new NIP, they've just got some secrets on Icebox, and they just win Icebox every time.
Yeah, it is interesting because you can't ban normally. Yeah, because it's
tournament.
It's like playing a BO3, but you can't ban the maps. You just pick immediately.
Was made by someone who has never done a broadcast before, because whatever schedule they've got, throw it in the fucking bin.
Yeah,
because you're prepping for best of 5s, which could go the distance,
which is like 3 hours,
or
3.5
it could
hours.
end in an hour. So whatever schedule you got, I mean, just fucking chuck it out the window. Unless they're like, are they playing? We don't know what the broadcast looks like, so we don't know what the full schedule will look like either.
Yeah,
no, they haven't released the bracket or anything. So
like this happens. Hasn't happened in Overwatch in a long time because you just don't see outside tournaments. But whenever you see a company, we have money, we want to run a tournament. Let's do it, but it's got a twist. It's got a twist. If you want our corporate bucks, you got to play by our rules. The fucking home ground system.
I'm down to run a tournament. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's better than BO1s, though.
It is better than BO1s.
Yes, absolutely. It is actually one of the best tournaments that Europe has had. In fact, it might be the best tournament that Europe has had for at least 6 months.
Yep.
But that's such a kick in the balls statement, like literally a stomp on my cock type of statement right there. Where like it's just like this is the best one yet, and you're playing some wonky shit. Like I'm over there playing Plinko, trying to decide the maps, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's sometimes a ridiculous statement to say.
It says here that the sides in terms of attack and defense is going to be decided by a game of Connect 4. That's really cool.
But so I want to try to understand something. It's an 8-team bracket They have 6 teams,
seven teams.
Through a qualifier, and then a special guest that isn't confirmed.
Yep.
Correct.
So what if they just say no?
Well, no.
They'll just
they
get
haven't.
another team.
They're just going to get the other team from the qualifier.
When it said not confirmed, I think it means not announced. I think that's just a wrong wording.
But also,
honestly, it could be not confirmed.
Yeah. They will be reaching out to teams and being like, I guarantee you they'll be thinking like, oh, let's get a fucking stream team in for viewership.
Maybe,
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like they're reaching out to streamers, and if that falls apart, they'll reach out to a team.
You're gonna essentially, if they invite a streamer team, you are going to give one of these teams a bye. Right? Which is immediately going to make the bracket weird because you don't have a winner of first strike to give the bye to. You have to give this bye to someone.
G2 or Summon.
Summon made it to the finals. They deserve the bye more than anybody else.
So what is it? Bracket round 1, Summon versus Time In?
I don't think there's logic in here.
Yeah.
With this process, I don't think there's logic.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming...
Well, how many European stream teams are there is the thing. Are there even...
No. I'm saying like they will reach out to the way this will probably work is like they will be reaching out to individual streamers, European streamers to build. They'll be like, "Do you want to build a team? Do you think you can build a team for this tournament? You want to play in it?"
Yeah,
probably.
Well, 8th team probably going to be Diffuse.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that would be the easiest option for sure. But
you say that, but
if you come in 8th,
wacky,
you do get 250 quid per person.
Not bad. That's a solid day's work.
Not bad for losing 2 maps.
Invite us.
That's a good pay rate. $250 an hour just to lose one.
Plat will play on ping. We'll fucking beat him as well.
All right. I think even though we don't have a bracket, I want to do like a bit of a run through of like either the storylines or the expectations for some of these teams as well, because we do have some new rosters, some new looks, that kind of stuff. So I think starting with Summon makes the most sense because if maybe they have a bye against some shitty stream team in the first round, maybe they don't. But either way, Summon come in here as the, on paper, highest seeded team, which is wild, genuinely. I don't know whether you expect them just to easily make the finals, though. This is pretty stacked competition.
Yeah. I mean, this is a stacked tournament. You have, as you were saying, I think one of the main narratives is probably the team's first look. You're getting the G2 first look. You're getting the guild. I mean, it's kind of old guild with a little bit of new. So, but it's still, first look for this guild roster. First look for NIP. So, and first look for Vitality.
For Vitality playing against Tier 1 competition,
So you've got a lot of first looks for these teams. Then you have Liquid, almost beat Heretics in the iconic Scream 78 frags game. And then, aside from that, I mean, Football is coming in as the one Turkish team. I mean, this is a pretty stacked tournament. I think it's going to be tough for them to really make it deep. But I think the biggest question is just which new rosters are going to perform early on. I wonder, one thing I have in my mind is I wonder if G2 are going to be in some kind of honeymoon period, or how are things going to click? That's just a big question, because there was a whole Phoenix duelist. What is going on here? Zeke's playing. He's joining as a Viper, or he's a Phoenix. I mean, what's going on?
A Phoenix-type duelist.
Yeah, so what's going on there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? So that is a big question. That is maybe the number one question, I think, given that G2 were the perennial number 1 team. How are they going to perform with the new roster?
Yeah.
I'm really interested in Team Liquid as a team, because they ended up going out to Heretics. They didn't look as clean as Heretics, obviously. But they went out first round. The overall fan reception of Team Liquid was horrific.
Yeah.
And I think really not on towards the team and the members of that team. And yeah, my question is actually how far are they going to go? Because we still don't have a clear sound. That was the vent again. Still don't have a clear sound or idea of where Team Liquid kind of stand, I think, in EU.
Yeah.
We haven't had a clear picture of them for ages. I was gassing them up. I was making videos, doing my research on them in the lead up to First Strike. and they just go out first round. I mean, we didn't really see many games of them beforehand either.
But that's the thing as well. They went out first round in such spectacular fashion.
Yeah.
In that they were one round away from being able to win that game, and yet it wasn't a good performance from the team.
Yeah.
It was wildly oscillating between good and bad, and the final map was just Scream turning on his carry pants and trying to take every duel he possibly could because he realized that their team system had shit the bed. So what a wild scenario to exit First Strike. You have so many questions about this team and very few answers.
And
big unknown.
And there's all the wacky Jugi nonsense that was happening.
Oh yeah, of course.
Where evidently, what had happened with that? I guess like Sliggy had said later on his stream, I'd seen a clip that he did. It was him who decided to have Jugi play with them, but it wasn't so much as like, I guess, a trial as it was. He wanted to experiment with having a hard AWPer on the team because Soulcast was away for holiday break, I believe. It was on holiday. So he just wanted to try him as a team experiment, a play style experiment.
Right.
So I guess that was what was happening there. But Liquid, a lot of question marks. They've just always been on the cusp of. It seems like they can win a tournament. It seems like they're gonna hit that real like upper echelon status, but they're falling just short.
And does Liquid's dynamic change at all, considering that it was very much like a Scream-centered team at times, so they set him up, but now we have a Jett nerf. So
yeah, absolutely.
Does Liquid's dynamic change coming into this tournament as well, on top of all those other factors?
I think that will definitely be the case for a number of teams. We've already seen, I mean, if you were watching the qualification process for this tournament, you would see Brimstone being played a ton, Viper being played a ton. The Icebox compositions were, I don't want to say bananas, but they had many different archetypes. While in NA, it feels like people have narrowed down into one archetype of like playing the Sky, playing very fast on A, and that's kind of how you play Icebox. You always have a Sentinel to be able to watch the flanks, that kind of stuff. In Europe, the Icebox gameplay that I've watched has gone anywhere from we have a Sage and a Viper and a Sky on our team to any of the three, plus a Sova, and like the ideas of sometimes no Sentinels and double duelist, sometimes triple duelist. It seems like there's a huge amount of experimentation still happening within the European scene. I think partly because they don't have that many tournaments to play in as well, so these things aren't really getting hammered out. It's all theory crafting in scrims, and then they see how it works in a tournament. But I don't know whether, Kurt, if you can find the stats of the home ground tournament already, but I feel like the agent selection will look drastically different to what you would expect from like the recent North American tournaments. And I think that's going to also extend into the tier 1 teams as well. Mixwell tweeted about how Jett nerfs, he loves the idea of them and he wants to get onto something else. He'd already been playing a bunch of Rays when it came to Bind recently too. I could see teams picking up the Brim and all sorts of stuff. Look at that. In the NSG Winter Monthly, we had 14% Brim being played. We have 31, is that 31%?
Yeah.
And then 14% Viper.
Yeah.
Like, there is a large diversity of agents happening in Europe.
4% Phoenix.
Yeah, Europe has just never liked Phoenix.
No.
They've never really played Phoenix.
But it is very much a mixed bag happening over in Europe right now. A lot of Sage being played, a lot of Brimstone, a lot of Viper being played as well. And okay, this is a collection of tier 2 and tier 3 teams that we're gathering this data from in the qualification process. But even the better the team got, it wasn't like they were trending back to normal.
Yeah.
The better teams, the Diffuse was still playing all sorts of weird shit. Vitality, not so much, but Diffuse definitely was. I think we're going to see some interesting compositions come out from these tier 1 teams. And it's going to be really difficult to kind of know what to expect from them.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult to know what to expect. And with all the new rosters, it's hard to predict. But I might just predict who I think is going to win this tournament.
Okay, go on.
Might not expect this one, but I actually think, well, maybe, I don't know. I think that Guild are going to win this tournament, actually.
You think Guild are going to win? They're going to immediately add Sayf back and win the tournament?
Yeah. I think so.
Lordy.
That's
why.
Okay.
I think Guild are taking it. Why? Because I think that pre-Sayf going to NIP, they were just on the upward trajectory. Things were clicking. Sayf and Yassine, obviously the level of skill that they're bringing is really high. I think that they're going to be in a bit of a honeymoon period, getting the fucking band back together. And also, aside from that, when they didn't have Sayf, they were still playing very well. They beat G2 on the infamous, glitch map. I think that they're going to come in here, a little something to prove, a little chip on the shoulder, a little honeymoon period with Sayf. They got the boys back together. Sayf is a top-tier player.
He is, yeah.
I think they might come in swinging. I think this is actually a pretty good opportunity for them to take down a little tournament. I think also while other teams might have some question marks, like in terms of maybe the overarching team strategy or like setups, executes, utility play, maybe they're probably still fleshing that out, right? Bringing this new roster together. But in terms of the individual synergies, they already exist on the team.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a great shot for them to actually take down a tournament where like G2, the individual synergies for, obviously most players are still there, but bringing in Zeke, there's going to be things to work out there. What's the in-game leading situation look like? What are the roles looking like? They still are going to have some work to do there. I think Summon are going to come in as a favorite for sure. But then aside from that, I mean, Liquid, I don't know. It's so hard to ever really say what Liquid are going to be at.
Liquid.
And NIP as well. I mean, I think NIP have some upset potential because they've got some talent on the roster, which is
NIP are a mess, man.
It's a constant, but yeah, they're just
they're a rotating door of nonsense.
That's but good nonsense.
Yes,
nonsense with talent. It's the overarch. There's an overarching nonsense to the team's existence.
Yeah,
but the pieces within it are
they're always good.
Yeah, so I think they'll have some upset potential. But
I like the idea of picking Guild to win here because when you think back previously, this is the roster that was third best in Europe.
Yeah,
that the teams above them were G2 and FPX. FPX is not in this tournament. G2's, like you said, I think G2 though are another team that could just be in a honeymoon period where they're feeling confident. They're all taking their aim duels. They're all hitting their shots. Zeke is just an incredibly talented individual, and they might just brute force their way to another tournament win. Yeah. I think that's very much a valid possibility, but that is not going to inspire huge confidence in me moving like long-term forward with G2 anyway. So what I really want to see out of that team is more structure, is like a set vision, is good utilization of Zeke and really good calling. Are we going to see that? I don't know. It seems unlikely that G2 would already be at that position. That seems like more of a long-term goal for challengers.
I think it's quite interesting that we have I was just going to say that we have such different takes. I mean, I was going to put a close to Avast, but if you got some.
I was literally just going to say, I feel like now Wyatt, as an anti-jolly man that he is, he's got to put his hot take out there. He's got to put his hot take out there. But I feel like, and it's not a bad take actually, but I feel like we're kind of underrating Summon like a bit heading into this tournament.
Yeah.
Because like, sure, were they not the most amazing team ever, but they were great in First Strike and they beat FPX. And I feel like since we're heading into an era of the patch has just dropped, Summon puts out a lot of innovative strats when they play and a lot of really interesting ways they push the boundaries and how they're taking map control and things like that. I kind of feel like, especially for an early tournament against teams that have just now formed, Summon is like, this is like a prime candidate to just like beat every team that's sort of changing their style of the rosters.
Yeah, I think that's another good shout. I think, honestly, the safe money would almost be on Summon to win because they have the least question marks out of any of the candidate teams. Guild have just got the band back together, and if that takes a little bit of time, maybe they're not pumping at all cylinders. G2 have just made some changes. There's potential upsides and downsides there in the short term. And Team Liquid, you never know what to expect. Summon are probably going to be reliably good.
Yeah.
Like, it would be crazy if they were bad, whereas any of the other teams that are playing right here, you could see them just bombing out in the quarters. Any of the other teams, reasonably. Yeah. Like, if G2 go up against a decent team, like a Guild or a Liquid or maybe even an NIP, and they have a bad day, and you're like, okay, brand new team, I can understand why they went out in the quarters there. That applies to everybody other than Summon, honestly.
Yeah, I think Summon are a very safe pick. I mean, they're definitely a favorite for me. It's just my theory.
What are the rules on co-streaming with this tournament?
I don't know. I think we should try and get in touch and see if we can set one up.
Yeah, do a companion stream.
Smelling it. Yeah, smelling it in the water.
Yeah.
Then again, that also means that we'd have to wake up at like 6 a.m.
that when it starts?
I don't know. Probably 8 a.m.
I mean, I do want to try and start correcting my sleeping schedule.
Correcting to 6 a.m. is an overcorrection, I think.
Yeah, but like, yeah, maybe. Possibly. Anyway, I think it's quite cool, honestly, that we have such differing opinions almost on who's going to win, or at least like zero expectations as well. You know, there's no pressure from us to make a claim about like, I know this team's going to win. You know, we've all gave our piece of what could happen, but we're not insecure about it, you know? We're not worried about keeping our jobs. We don't have jobs. You know, we're just on this podcast, just chatting.
Definitely don't have a job. Hey, Astralis, who's looking for a coach or GM? I'll put your team together for the low.
So yeah, that should be reason enough, honestly, to watch this tournament.
Well, who's you're talking all this talk about we no egos, we got all.
Oh, I know Team Liquid's going to win.
I knew it. Speaking of not having a job, I'm convinced. Here's the thing. Everybody knows Bren used to be on the Immortals payroll.
Yeah.
After today's little incident, I don't think he's on the Immortals payroll anymore. He's talking about this like, oh, look at it. I don't know. He's bringing up articles. We're looking at esports articles and shit. I don't think he's on the Immortals payroll.
Yep.
Bren, ever since he was. Anyone notice that for First Strike, all the previews we did, nice little you and me discussion, little Mr. X,
tried to get Brennon on a bunch of them.
And he said no.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because he just wanted to... Bren wanted to do the Liquid video on his own.
Yeah.
He wanted to... No. I'm going to edit this one. And he tried to put together a little Tarantino, little Steven Spielberg, little Team Liquid masterpiece.
Yep.
And ever since then, Team Liquid's going to win First Strike. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Soulcast. He's just always riding for Team Liquid. Here we are again. Another tournament. Who's going to win? Team Liquid. Oh, we don't have jobs. Bren's getting checks from Team Liquid. I'm convinced.
Wyatt, you are such a like you're 100%. You're influencing my little mind with your you're going on the air. You're telling me with your conspiracy theories. You're like fraud didn't want to ship Spyder to an A. But T1 did. First, that's what Wyatt said to me. And now he's like, Bren's getting paid by Liquid under the table. And what's next, huh?
Well,
what's next? Josh is wearing a cap. That's not his real hair. At the top that he's wearing a cap. What's going on?
Listen. The fraud thing. That was your theory.
That was not. That was yours. You put it in my brain.
What I'm telling you is this. There's no way this is a theory.
All right, we're moving on.
There's too much evidence.
We're moving on.
There's too much evidence.
This leads us nicely into Wyatt's weekly award, our final segment of the day. Kurt, please, if you could roll the tape, and Wyatt, if you could hand the award to me.
Dinner's almost ready, but right now, it's time for Wyatt's weekly award. That smells good.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Another one?
Kurt, could you grab
another one?
Yeah.
What is this? This is the most elaborate design.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very niche award that they had available.
Yeah.
The Chili Award. Yeah, it's definitely for niche competitions. It's up in the corner.
Kurt can't find it. The Chili Award has already been handed out. Oh no, here it is.
It's stolen.
No, we got it.
Oh, it's a big boy.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Definitely, yeah, as I was saying, for niche competitions here.
Wow.
So you're giving it to me, right?
So, I mean, this, I don't know whether you can tell, but this is, it's got 2 spoons on either side of it. It's well made. It's kind of sturdy.
Yep.
And then it's got an enormous chili that didn't fit in the pot, and then a pot just dripping fire.
Yeah.
And then
can I have a look?
Horrible photoshopped image at the bottom.
Yes, a pretty interesting sticker at the bottom there.
Yeah, that's a powerful award. This might be the best yet.
Chili, and it's just like some clip art. It's Microsoft clip art. Of that they've just tacked together. Yeah.
Do people regularly have chili contests in the US?
Yeah, they do actually. Chili contests are popular. So
I don't have a clue.
I did not know that was a thing.
But there's this week's Wyatt's Weekly Award going to a nice young man we all know, friend of the show. This weekly award is going to go to Michael HD. Mike's HD. Because it was his birthday this week. So, got to give the weekly award to Mike. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike.
And he's got some news coming up. little project he's been working on. So keep your eyes out for that too.
You want to just spoil it? Ruin his birthday?
No. No. So that's Wyatt's Weekly Award. Happy birthday, Mike.
That's a good award, honestly. And he gets the chili award.
Yeah, very, very special award.
Very fitting as well.
He's chill, right? It's because he's a chill guy. A chilly guy.
He also
that makes me hate you that you made that pun. That's truly appalling.
Makes a great chili as well.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. I don't know if we've got any pictures of Mike. I guess you could bring up the Immortal Minds podcast. We could steal some of their content. Get this one on the road.
He's not often on the stream, though, because he does the producing for it.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
Just
occasionally.
Disembodied voice.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
He is occasionally
he's on it.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm interested, actually, to see how, talking about Mike, how his replacement, Neil Zenio, does with G2. Because that is an ongoing storyline within the European scene as well. It's just whether G2 have, carried on with their...
Yeah, during his award.
Just talk about the fact
that... talk about his replacement.
Okay, but he's moving on to bigger and better.
Greener pastures,
exactly. So... wasn't the right fit for G2, but there's elsewhere.
And maybe G2 will just shit the bed harder and he'll be vindicated.
Yes, very possible.
I mean, he's already received an award.
There's no higher heights.
He's got a new team. I don't know who's making the team for, but he's got a team. He's got an award.
Team Chile.
Yeah, there you go. So wins all around.
Yeah.
Is that it, Bren?
That is the episode. Actually,
wow.
We've concluded it with barely any interruptions. I decided to wear a pair of jeans I've had tucked away for a while, and I have gotten thick over the seasons. They are not fitting me whatsoever.
You've been squatting?
I'm being constricted alive. This entire podcast, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of times I've been going like...
I have not noticed that.
Wasn't particularly...
comfortable?
Hidden with it.
Sorry, don't give him any suggestions. I want to see which word he comes up with here.
Hidden?
Hidden.
Wasn't particularly hidden.
What do you mean hidden?
So I was trying to be like sly about it,
Right.
Oh, I'm not just.
Yeah,
I'm not adjusting my.
And now you've been drawing attention to it for the past minute.
Yeah.
No, I'm not adjusting my.
Well, the illusion is finished. The illusion is finished. It's done. He doesn't have to keep up the facade anymore. He's made it through.
The episode's done. I'm going to change it to some sweatpants. Actually, I might go for a walk after this. If any of you guys are down.
Wow.
Go for a walk
across the green pastures of Fortnite.
No, imagine if this was last week's episode, Bren, when we had like the 6-hour episode of Plat chat. Like, then there would have been a real.
Yeah, no. I can put an end to this if you want.
We can keep talking.
Well, why is it on me? Am I the decider
You're the
of the
host.
episode?
Come on. You got anything give us a word of the day.
A word of the day. Word of the day. Today's word is heinous. Heinous.
I like
is
it.
today's
What a
word.
heinous crime. Can you use that in a sentence?
Yes, those
I got a
genes
deep
are
pain in my heinous.
performing a heinous act upon your bum.
They really are, yeah. They really are. And with that, we're going to end the episode. Thanks for watching Plat Chat Valorant. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Fucking comedian over
this
here.
guy is moving into comedy right at the end. There's a reason we moved to Austin.
Wait, Bren, you have to tell the little people what they can comment so we can get our.
For the algorithm.
Today?
Yeah, leave a comment for which comedic stand-up guy you want Josh to collab with. Coming up,
definitely.
Because as I was about to say, we moved to Austin for a reason. Josh has been hanging outside Joe Rogan's house every single day, trying to collab with him, trying to do some stand-up. He's like, Joe, I'm a big fan, Joe, and he's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah,
it's a little bit strange, but we've been leaving him to it.
Bren says I look like Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
doesn't he live in a
occasionally
gated community? So you wouldn't be outside his house; you'd be outside his neighborhood, just like screaming.
I think Josh, if he shaves his head, if he worked out as well, he would look like Joe Rogan.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
There's a face you do. I can't describe it. There's a face you do that looks like Joe Rogan's face. No, it's not that. It's like almost like a chimp-like expression of amazement. It's like, oh. Yeah, it's kind of close to it there. It's kind of close to it. It's the eye. When the eyes are open, it's the same eyes. This section of his face is the same as Joe Rogan's. I'm not kidding. It is.
Is it calling Joe Rogan a chimp gonna help with his collab? Is this gonna help?
Yeah, it's about right, I think.
He's got like the head empty. There, dude. I'm fucking telling you. Do you see what I'm talking about?
I mean, it looks like general bewilderment. You know, like I don't know.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Sure.
No, it doesn't look like me at all.
I think if you just look at this. Anyway, that's enough about this episode. You guys watching, you're busy people. Wyatt's busy. We got a lot on our plates. Got a lot to do. So we'll catch you next time. Who do you want to see Josh do stand-up comedy with? Let us know. We'll try and make it happen. We've got a lot of sway in this industry. Having just come from the city of glitter. What do they call it? Hollywood?
City of Angels, isn't it?
City of Angels.
The city of glitter. Or the city of glitter.
I don't know what it's called. Well, but we come from the city of glitter. We have a lot of influence.
That's what they call Gloucester, the city of glitter.
Yep. That's because of I'm not going to make that joke. Let's end the episode. Bye, everybody. Bye.